Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to a lovely sunny afternoon here in Brazil. My name is Scotty Radogon, ranking alongside the cowbell Cowan. Cowie, we're here in Southern America, Brazil to be specific, for the race for our TCRs at Interlagos, and qualifying already a few minutes deep. We are thick into action, drivers starting to set their fastest times. Who have you got your eye on early here, Cowie?
Mate, it looks like it's a big field. I was having a look. There's a few new names that have jumped into the season here as well. A couple of mates of mine, Jace Douglas and Jet Oliver Murray, a couple of young guys. Jet's only 14 and he's quick. His brother is actually racing in the Porsches, Cooper Murray. So, you know, Jet's definitely one to watch.
What have you done? Have you invited Cooper Murray to my godforsaken... Cowie, stop putting drivers ahead of me in the Porsche. Discuss this.
It's his brother Jet, buddy. But I think Jet is a bit keen to jump in the Porsches too, man. So, yeah, you might have someone there testing you.
Well, that's what the circuit looks like. It is home of the Brazilian Grand Prix for Formula One, and it is quite an awesome racetrack to go racing at. Home of the Center S's, that lovely combination through turn 1, 2, and 3 makes for some interesting racing. Cars running wide, looking for grip. Remember here, I believe it might have been 2018 when Max Verstappen drove around the outside in the wet through turn 3. That was awesome to watch as he went by the Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas. Overtaking opportunities into turn 1, in between turn 3 and turn 4. It's a little bit tight and tricky, technical through the middle of the circuit, but if you get alongside somebody, the TCRs will present you that opportunity, Cowie.
Oh, these things have shown that you can. That door banging seems to be part and parcel with them, and the toe is massive. So yeah, we should have some great close racing, and by the looks of it, we're going to have at least 20 cars out there, mates. That's awesome night.
Yeah, well, I'm just having a quick look through as well, and actually, most importantly, probably to notice that the interest in TCRs within Australia has been noted. V8 Supercars and the organisation that owns them looking at buying stakes.
I saw that today. Yeah.
Yeah, TCR. There was a few drivers saying, hey, look, I don't really think V8 Supercars and TCR would work together, but seeing the TCRs show up and race in a whole bunch of races, the difficulty is V8 Supercar drivers want to use it as their kickback, their relax, and have some fun series where it's a lot less sort of serious, I think, is what the way that people want to treat it. Well, lapped on board at this point in time. Chef Toddy's behind the cameras tonight. Toddy, can you just whisper in my ear quickly who we've got on screen? Riley Jones on screen in the number 99 Honda. There's a ton of... I'm just looking up and down the field. Ton of Audis out there. Ton of Audis. And then Riley Jones is just this leading Honda, really trying to show up the pack.
Well, that's good to see, because I have heard a bit of rumours about the Audi. You know, is it on an older model or something you said last week? Was that right?
Yeah, it is. So remember, when the TCRs first came to iRacing, there was one and one only, and it was the Audi. Very recently, we picked up, I believe it was 2 or 3 more. No, it was 3, because we got 2 Hyundais added pretty much one season and then the very next season after that. So we've now got 4 entries into the TCR class, and 3 of them are nearly brand spanking new. They're still slowly working through that first coat of paint.
Yep, that season 1, I think that came out. I think I bought the Hyundai Elantra to give that a go. I must admit, I am nowhere near mastering them. Look at the total cross lock there. That was crazy. You try that in a supercar and you're dead.
or it goes spectacularly with the amount of drifting that you do. Like, it either looks fantastic or it's death. There is no in between.
It looks spectacular. I don't know if it's going to be spectacular, but it'll look it.
Well,
but they are a great car, great fun car, very different, because you can really manhandle them and throw them about, you know. So, and I think that's one of the things that makes that close to wheel-to-wheel action, you know, that you can take a bit of a buffet and still, you know, be able to steer the thing where it needs to go, you know.
So, just for those of you at home who are wondering what the models of car that are available, we'll literally list them off for you right now. Like I said, the oldest of the 3, it is the Audi. It's the Audi RS3 LMS. It's been on the sim for a fair while. Over the last year, less than last year, it's been added the Hyundai Elantra, and I believe the Civic Type R, Honda Civic Type R came together. And then later on down the line, we also received another model of the Hyundai, which is the Hyundai Veloster. which I believe is actually what Chaz Mostert might be driving the TCRs this year. Anyway, that is the TCR class. It was a really, really much needed expansion. People wanted to see multiple different forms of the TCRs being joined. It is one of the most popular racing categories right out and around the world, because this is basically where you'll step up to something akin to this. It's sort of a junior formula within the closed cockpit world, and it's a breeding ground for international superstars. From here, you'll likely set up into a Porsche Cup, GT4, something like that, and then on to wherever your main game series is, whether that be V8 Supercars, whether that be the V8 Supercars, stock cars, you name it. Right around the world, they basically just step up from here. It's one of those major cornering stones to building a racing career, and the drivers out here tonight are certainly treating it as if, well, it's no longer a cornering stone. They want it to be their all-star.
Well, it's also one of those places you find a lot of veterans of that end up as well, and probably more for that mentoring role, as you spoke of, the being development series or at least up and coming races, and so you put a few old heads in there to keep the little young whippersnappers in line. But look, it's lots of different makes of cars, so it's quite big in Europe, and that's where those manufacturers are, so they're all competing against each other, and it's great to have a series like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I mean, it's so important as well. If you can't get the experience in a racing car, you can't go racing, you can't prove and show your wares, you're never going to get the opportunity to advance. So it's incredibly important for drivers to be able to do that. It's also incredibly important for drivers to have a like-for-like series they can jump across the hot continents and go racing in. Wouldn't it be fun if we saw some more international stars show up perhaps at Bathurst? Remember the Excel series from Bathurst last year? Was it 50 entries? 50 entries, I think? It was a ridiculous number. There was so many Excels flying down the mountain. And that's another one of the different, obviously, categories that we have. And split off in Australia is the Hyundai Excels in particular, the single make series. Just a step below the TCR, step cheaper, if you will. As well as I've heard of all manner of different BuzzBox series, and that's effectively what these are, just the upgraded BuzzBoxes.
Good to see the Radicals as well. They're another series that we... was a big moment for teammates there.
I believe that was Nathan Allen trying to get out of the way of Dylan DeBono and got it slightly wrong.
Rather interesting. But yeah, look, I mean, that's the great thing about sort of racing everywhere, I suppose. I'm an armchair athlete, buddy, so I was a cricketer, but never a race car driver, and I've turned into an armchair race car driver, but what about this place as well, mate? Interlagos.
Oh yeah,
it's a pretty cool track. The Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace. I was doing a bit of research on it earlier, and that original name Interlagos means literally between lakes.
Yeah,
so that's what it means, right? And that's where it sits. So it's two artificial lakes. So they actually built the track through it, and those artificial lakes are the hydroelectric system for the area, which is pretty cool. And what happened is it was renamed in 1985 to honour Jose Carlos, who died in a plane crash. Obviously a favoured son of Brazil.
Keep our eyes on the driver currently on the screen, which is Paulie Gerlin, who has the fastest qualifying lap as we stand. Qualifying very quickly coming to its conclusion. And it's time to say thank you once again to Melville Equipment Corporation, proud sponsor of our qualifying, I believe, all week long, and they will be our proud sponsor for qualifying V8 Supercars this weekend as well. Keep your eyes peeled for that, because we will be back to this very circuit tomorrow night. Porsche Cup will be the second series that we host, opening things up with the SR8 SR10 Radical combo. It is a Radical combo. If you're looking for a series to jump on and drive, Cowie and I are both participants in that one. They are a fun batch of cars with a fun group of guys, and everyone honestly is absolutely having the most fun. TCRs tonight, F3s, basically all of that, and then you get a little bit more serious when you step into the Porsche territory. We'll be returning to Interlagos as well, and then the V8 Supercars on Sunday. Right, clock has now ticked.
That man, I don't know about more serious. These guys have been, driving these TCRs to within an inch of their life last week, so I'm sure there's a bit of serious and sheep stations on tonight's race, buddy.
Oh, look, it's the ones that I take more seriously, all right? I put it all on the Porsche, okay? That's about the only car I can drive quickly.
Well, Paul Gerlin. right to the top of the sheet, and it just might be that this series is called the DSL Welding TCR series here. And you know, he hasn't bought anything there. Paul, great to have your support, buddy, and good to see you right at the top of the chart. Awesome stuff, mate.
That's it. Well done to Paulie Girl, who's gone to the top of the chart. He is still out there on track at this stage, but has finished his lap, or at least he's picked up and off track, so he will be done. Greg Leake will just cross the line. He will be just about done. One more driver left to go. It's Deacon Gerland, the other of the Gerlands. We'll see if he can go down and improve as well. Drivers that had a phenomenal finish last week as well. Keep your eyes out for Randall Luapu. He's managed to slot himself into P5 on the grid. It was a stunning drive to finish in second place in the feature race. We saw him trying to have a go at an overheating Dylan De Bono late in the race. That was awesome to watch and has been awesome to watch so far. Tonight's race will be one race and one race only. 45 minutes the race distance. That's going to get you somewhere in the realm of, let's say, about 29 laps. 29, 30 laps should be about the race distance, provided we don't see that all-important DSL Welding Services safety car, because that may play its part here at Interlagos. Final drivers crossing the line. I don't think there's any more drivers on a lap, but time has yet to expire.
So I think what you're saying there is that we might actually get a chance to take more than a couple of breaths tonight, being sort of just one race, not the sprint format. Because that was absolutely crazy. It was crazy last week. No, but it was crazy last week. We didn't even get to look at the start until about 20 minutes in. You know, because there was so much happening. So I'm looking forward to this, buddy. It looks like the field has increased in size. We've got half a dozen guys there that did not put in a qualifying time. So hopefully they all make it to the grid. But yeah, mate, this should be awesome.
Shall we say the field has increased its girth as well? Because there's nothing better than a girthy field making its way down.
Whoa. You know, TCRs, mate, I would not be surprised to see them go 3 wide into turn 1, and there'll be someone out there who'll be thinking, is 4 wide an option?
Well, I was about to say, there's a TCR series is probably the appropriate place for the girthy members among us, yes, myself included, to go racing. I'm not out there in the field, though. I'm up here in the commentary box, and I'm about to say, Paul Gerland for DSL Racing with a 1:42.822. Gets pole by 11 thousandths of a second from the man up sim racing driver. That's Riley Jones, driver the 99. Harry Dodds tops the charts. Your teammate, Cowie, in P number 3. Performance Sim Racing, Dylan De Bono, 4 separate teams alongside the 4 front rows. But then we'll throw back to what a drive it was from Luapui last week. Row number 3, Deacon Gerland, quite quick out there in practice, quite quick in qualifying, off the outside. Brent Tucker and David Leslie are going to make your row number 4. Matty Gerard had some moments throughout the week where he looked good. Greg Leake along his outside as well. Nathan Allen and Tyson McAvoy. McAvoy not setting some quick lap times. That's a long way further back than I would expect from him. That seems to me maybe some issues for McAvoy. He was up at the front running back in Canada, if you can remember. Way back there. Bradley Wall, Caleb Gerland, Chase Douglas, Greg Johnson, and Dean Sinkovich are your drivers to set a time. Drivers not to set a time that are racing: Matthew Boylett, Jet Oliver Murray, Jackson Keller, and Stephen Barrow. Your safety car drivers will be Greg Barber and Stefan McCartan. The milk carton, we call him.
That's interesting. I wonder if the newcomers, maybe they were told not to qualify or have elected to start at the back.
Potentially elected to start at the back.
Yeah, because I can see Jace has put in a time. He's in 15th at the moment, and Jet chose not to. So, hopefully they all make the grid and we have a cracking race, buddy.
I was going to say, get the feet wet, dip them in, get your toes wet, start from the back, learn your craft. Well, keep your eyes up on those lights. We'll be going racing here in just a few moments for what is 45 minutes, approximately 29 to 30 laps. The journey, I would say it's actually probably going to be a smidge less than that. 27 laps. Lights all the way on now. They'll go out, and we're on the run to turn number 1. Is it the Audis that get the great launch yet again? Whereas all of a sudden, Riley Jones found something. It's De Bono to the inside. De Bono from 4th on the grid takes second contact on the run into turn number 1. It's just one driver wide, and that might have been somebody off the outside. who's settled themselves in. It's Gerlin that's taken the lead in the Audi, but it's going to be Riley Jones trying to hang it out and around the outside of Dylan DeBono. This battle has been raging for 3 weeks so far, and the 3rd week it continues. Little Pui it was that was wide and off in the dirt.
It was a little early. I think Deacon Gerlin got caught up in that too, because he was up a couple of spots and he was lost there. So, yeah, fair bit going on at the start there, buddy.
Yeah, and just exactly what we've expected. Through the center S's, we didn't see all that much trouble the first time. Now they'll settle themselves onto the middle of the lap. Up here, the long right-hander. You sort of try to hold your speed a little bit back. Then you're going to peg it all the way down and try and hook yourself in. Nathan Allen, the driver we're riding on board with at the moment, up to P10. I believe that's a jump from him for the start of this race. Brent Tucker is going to be the driver just ahead of him, trying to hold him off. And Luapui's lost a few spots, but managed to regain a few of them down the inside, just ahead of him. But I have a feeling that was McAvoy. McAvoy up to sixth place.
Up 6th place, but mate, he had a blinder to start.
Yeah, well, there you go. Maybe not able to set a qualifying lap that he would have been proud of, but is that him that's wide down in there? No, I don't think it was. It will be Luapui.
And Harry Dodd's in front of him and David Leslie, both those guys going to see if they work together as a team to put the pressure on David.
Well, we'll see them try and group up. I think the most important thing is if they can actually sneak back up and catch on, because if Dodds can't get past here, they've either got to work together and save a little bit of fuel, extend that margin out. Oh, the dive from the team boss! And I tell you what, if there's one man you don't want to go rubbing with, it's the team boss. McAvoy will steal that one away from Dodds. Oh, what? 2 cars heavily in the barrier in turn 1.
Oh, no.
It's Brent Tucker was one of them, was still waiting on the other. Luapui's kept his spot. Brent Tucker's crawling around. Oh, Deacon Gerlin, it is!
Oh. What's happened to the guys?
So it was in turn number 2. They were in the fence on the left-hand side. We'll get a replay of it here momentarily. This will tell us a huge picture. The huge dive bomb! Gonna try and send it 3 wide, bailed out of it. Escorted the car in there nice and easily.
A little tag.
From the high ropes, you got to leave a little bit more space than that, Deacon. You can't just turn in and own that corner from that wide of a position, so they've sort of paid for it. I think, I'm curious to see which way race control goes there, because it's a case for both sides, Cowie.
Yeah, look, that's probably going to be deemed a racing incident, but you're right, we've got independent race control, so, you know, that's why they get paid to make the hard decisions.
Oh, I'm watching things up at the front at the moment, and Luapui's just nudged the back end of Harry Dodds, so Luapui's all over that pack, and McAvoy's used to clear out. They're 3 wide in the last corner. They all managed to get through there somehow. Luapui, how did you do that, son? How'd you get through there? That tight in the corner. They're not being nice and easy on each other in the opening phases.
I think Harry is a little bit of a cork in the bottle at the moment, so those guys behind him. And the problem is, Tyson's managed to kick clear a little bit and just breaking that toe, and then suddenly you get caught up in a little mess. And we've seen it time and time before. The moment you've got to start battling, that's going to cost you a second or more. Watch out from Harry.
Dodds and Luapui deep. Oh no, sorry, it wasn't. It was Dodds and Leslie that were deep. They're going to rejoin in front of Luapui. Luapui will dodge it, and Leslie ends up with the barrier.
Oh, well, that onboard shot looked like he was going to drive straight through him. So thank God that might have been a bit of
I think he's kept up.
Yeah, I think it might have been a bit of netcode because it looks like they're all still going.
Well, yeah, there is a little bit of damage to the David Leslie car, and now there'll be a car facing backwards. They're making contact. They're basically the field of community. Oh, look, Luapui's backwards. Where is that come from? Because Luapui was facing the right direction. He was actually okay. So is that
I'm thinking it's the pace of the race. These guys are racing hard and they're throwing these things around and forced to, you know, race it like it's the second last lap.
Greg Johnston's just parked up to race control, so I wonder whether or not Luapui had contact with Johnston. And Johnston is bent. So we're going to have a look at Luapui's incident first, and we'll see what's going on here. No, so Luapui's down the inside of Allen. Tries to, drift wide, and Allen's...
Just gone straight through him. That's probably going to be a penalty, I would think.
Well, I mean, Allen's held his line.
Yeah.
Allen's followed the white markings on the track.
But there's a car in front. Again, another one, mate. That's why I'm not on race control. I'd probably get too heated anyway.
Here's the thinking, right? Here's the thinking on that one, is that there's white markings. You got to follow the racetrack. And for me, Alan's come back off the edge of the racetrack a little bit too much.
It's a moment. Well, you got. It looked like a car turned down the area on Harry, but again, Harry might have been firing up the inside. There's a lot going on at the moment, man.
Well, the fact that Dodds continued off the exit of the corner says he wasn't going to make it. So Dodds was a little bit deep. And remember, last lap he was deep as well. So Dodds has had control of this race, a really good spot. Now he's going to fly back through, and here comes Pui on his assault. That'll be David Leslie, I believe he's going to dive down the inside, and now they have Sinkovic out the windscreen, and Leslie's not done with him.
Well, they're fighting. They're playing for keeps from sort of 5th place onwards with all this battling, and at the moment it's 1, 2, 3 have jumped like 6 seconds clear of P4, and he's another 2.5, 3 seconds clear of P5. So
qualifying times, there was 11 thousandths between Gerlin and Jones, and again we've seen this battle between De Bono, and I think Riley Jones, it was the last time, that actually just escorted himself a little bit wide, let De Bono have the spot, tried to fuel save, if you count back to Canada.
All 3 of those guys are the only guys doing 43s at the moment. There's a few questions being asked about what you were talking about there, Scotty, just with track limits and rejoins and stuff. So, you're probably onto something there, buddy.
Hang on. Dodds has had another moment, but in the meantime, David Leslie's just got back by Lil Pui. So this is just to tell us this is the moment between Dodds and Leslie, I believe, down the inside of turn 1. Oh, so it's Sinkovic. That was the move from the previous lap in the first corner, and if actually we can cut back to live, Sinkovic has got a car going down his outside at the moment. Lil Pui's in underneath him as well, so it's Leslie, Lil Pui and Dean Sinkovic all scrapping over, well, the dregs of the top 10, because this is for P10. Actually, it's for P9, P10 and P11, so at this stage, this needs to get solved quickly if Lil Pui and Leslie are going to rescue their races, because they've got the pace to run inside the top 5, but right now they're not being able to.
Well, it's one of those things, we're seeing quite a bit of action, door banging and spins and everything, but everyone's still going. These cars are quite robust, and also, into Lagos, there's quite a good bit of runoff area, so there's not a lot of places where you're going to get a car stuck in a tyre barrier, or damaged to the point that it's, can't move, and you're going to get a request to tow and, maybe bring that safety car out. So
have a look at that rear bumper of David Leslie as Lil Pui's going to go to his outside. If I was Lil Pui, I would let Leslie get by. I know that I'm quicker than Leslie, but right now, me fighting Leslie is not allowing Leslie to have a crack at Sinkovic, and that's the biggest issue. If they can get past Sinkovic, Lil Pui will clear Leslie for sure. But right now, neither of them can get past Sinkovic because they're too busy fighting each other.
Well, it's that battle that we talk about, and I know that Dean would be hoping that those guys keep battling, because at the moment, you can see that David Leslie getting a run on him. So Dean forcing him around the outside. So we'll have to see how this goes. See the tendency of the car on the inside to try and break really deep and make it hard. I know he's done well. Look at that.
Yeah, there you go.
Just sat inside him there. Do you think David thought better of it?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe he's weak down there. Lil Pui seems to be the one that's got something going. We'll have to look at this again and come back, I think, because there's some battles going on up and down the field. 5th, 6th and 7th place, which is Nathan Allen, Gerard and Wall. They're having a hell of a scrap up here ahead as well. So this is one that we'll have to keep an eye on. So this is Nathan Allen. Remember, compromised his teammate's final attempt at a qualifying lap, trying to get out of his way. And now he'll have Matty Gerard looking for a sniff, going uphill into the right hand. And turn 6 and 7, they'll square it off from the run to turn 8. Try and slow things back down again, and I think they're just all caught up. Is there any fuel saving, you think, going on for Bradley Wall, just watching this for a little while here, Cowie?
It's possible. I know the guys were talking before that they tried a little bit of it, but I don't know how super effective it's been so far in the first couple of rounds. But I think it's more just the effect of the tow versus what these cars, they are a bit of a, aerodynamic.
Oh, there's a huge incident down at the tail end of the pack. It's going to be Greg Johnston's off the road, and I think I think he's had a run-in with your teammate there in Harry Dodds.
Oh, no. And Greg's still trying to get righted. Alright, and it's been called out on the radio, so there might be a bit more to that. But yeah, look, I think what it is that the tow seems to give these cars a chance to battle each lap. So what it does is it creates clumps of cars out on the track.
Well, that's what's going on. This will tell us the story. Dodds gets a run to the right-hand side. He's off the track, but Johnston hasn't really left him anything. So it's a little bit of they're both kind of at fault, kinda. I mean, Dodds is outside the white lines. This is important for race control.
You want ambiguity? Race TCRs. No. It's not like that.
Was there enough of an overlap for Greggy to have to have left in the room? Will be the question that race control has to answer. They will be answering that in the near future. Luapui has just made contact with Dean Sinkovic.
Oh. We might need a safety car to cool all these emotions down.
I think we need a safety car just so race control can review everything. So, Luapui's finally got the run and cleared David Leslie. You can see the After Dark car. He's going to throw the fake, throw the bomb down the inside, and Sinkovic will try and cover him off. I think Sinkovic hasn't left him enough space there.
Yeah, look, I mean, you know, you're racing together. You want to try and carry your racing line, and we want to have all these rules about being up to the B pillar and all that, but you've also got to be aware of the cars around you. And these things are designed to race close together. I can't see that Dean didn't know that he was there, so one of those things create such tight racing. And as it's back up the front, these boys have been at it. We've hardly had them on the stream, and they've been battling for 8 laps so far as well, mate. It's been pretty chaotic all up and down the field. We still got you out there, Scotty? Looks like we might have lost Scotty there for a moment. Well, we can focus on this action of the leaders here.
Well, what's happened is the cat has decided that if I'm not feeding it, she's going to unplug my microphone. So, what's going on here is we did have P1, 2, 3 having now inverted themselves. Gerlin was leading by De Bono and then Riley Jones. Well, now it's completely opposite. 1, 2, 3, Jones, De Bono, Gerlin. So now we've got some more racing going on and continuation of the incidents for David Leslie. There is rubbing as racing going on. It's going to be Luapui, I think, may have made contact now with David Leslie. So Luapui, I think, has run out of patience.
Look, he's definitely shown that he was fast last week, battling up at the front, and he's been involved in a few incidents now, trying to carve his way through. But, you know, even though these things do look like a brick with little bits of aero on them, I don't think you really want to drive them like a brick and just drive through people, so...
Well, bricks do still break.
That's exactly right, mate. But no, so far he's looks like he's finally got himself to the front of this pack and can battle on. But look, everyone's been pretty protective of their own bit of track position out there tonight, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, except for the old stable master, Luapui, way out in the weeds, and that's going to offer Deacon Gerlin a shot. In fact, he's already up the inside. Gerlin's going to get this done in about 100 metres. You know what? Screw that 100 metres. He's already got it done.
Well, it also looks like Brandon is going to get past him as well, so well, he's keeping a run here.
So it looks like it was a bump and run from Luapui that got the move done onto David Leslie, which would be turn 1, I think, would have happened in.
Yep, that's what he's talking about.
Yep, so now Deacon's going to get down the inside. So that's Brent Tucker going to try and squeeze himself down the inside. He will get the move done here on Luapui, and he's got some horsepower behind him. Is he going to show the nose on the run down here? Into the corner? No! Luapui's made a huge dive! A big old wiggle! He pulls it up! He loses 2 spots for Deacon Gerlin, and it's going to be Brent Tucker that cleans up the marbles.
But if Brent blinked out there for a minute, so, you know, maybe Randall Luapui wanted to get out of the way when there's a car blinking because he'd be pissed on you know. So, yeah, and somehow he held on to that. There was a little bit of contact, but I think he did pretty well. I mean, They could have ended up very messy.
My word. Caleb Gerlin and Deeka Gerlin are going to go head-to-head in those things now as well in the background, so keep your eyes on them. Dodds is still on his recovery drive. We've barely even talked about, this is the battle pack I really want to talk about, is 5, 6, 7, and 8. Have a look at the drivers that are involved in this. Matty Gerard, Nathan Allen, Brad Wall, and Greg Leake. This is, for these drivers, this is the best I've seen all of them perform. Nathan Allen is still trying to make his way within the road racing scene, still learning his trade. Brad Wall, we've seen some phenomenal starts and some really, really good starts to races out of him lately in the Sim Racing World team. Alongside of him, you've got Greg Leake. This is the best I've ever seen Leakey drive. He is on a banger.
Leakey qualified in the top 10, so he'd be stoked with that. But I think he really enjoyed it. I think both him and Greg, the team Greg machines, Greg had some good pace until he had that unfortunate incident last week, and he was right up the front. And now it's Greg's turn to take the battle up the front. So that's awesome stuff from Team Greg.
My word.
Shout out there, boys.
Well, look at it's the improvement, because these drivers have been a core part of the league for an extended period of time. They're happy to hang around the back. They're happy with that, because that's where they want to race. They're racing against their friends and their buddies. Brad Wall, all of a sudden last season, got some coaching, started going to the front, and Leakey's gone, you know what? I'm going to tag on. I'm going with you.
Yeah, well, Alex from AC Racing just having a chat on the YouTube, and he's maybe had some issues or seen some things about driving standards and dive bombs and stuff, but mate, we want to see all those comments. Gives us stuff to talk about, and as you can see, Scotty and I don't agree on everything anyway, so it's just awesome to hear from you guys, so keep those comments coming.
I believe that might be Alex Court out there in the YouTube chat, another driver who I believe has entered into the Porsche Cup. I did see him hanging around the server and assisting his team, the After Dark boys, in the V8 Supercars as well the other night. So it's good to see Alex hanging around the league.
He was spotting Dan Schultz on Sunday, so yeah. It's great to have Alex with us. I know he's doing a lot of racing commitments and that, and he's had to sort of trim things a bit thin, but Alex, you know, we love you, good hard racing buddy, so can't wait to see you out there on track.
And a big shout out to another person that's a part of the Autism Australia racing as well. It's really, Alex has been crucial to me getting a diagnosis with my autism and starting to learn bits and pieces. I've been able to ask somebody in the community for advice. He's a great racer, a lot of talent, aggressive racer, pushes the limits sometimes, but we need that in the sport. And Alex is one of those great guys, and you can talk to him about it. You'll always learn something out of talking to Alex, and that's what I love about him. Anyway.
Well, I'm thinking that's maybe why Alex can make those sort of comments and give the Dive Bomb Award, because he's good at it himself. So
he is fantastic. He does do it. No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like when he is on, the dive bombs are inch perfect. That's what I love about watching him race. So.
Tate Jones out there saying she's a D girl and #1 fan. You say hi, Mum. Is that what we need to say out there? No, that's awesome, Tate.
Okay. Here's the thing. If you're a D girl and fan, are you playing favourites here, or are we partnered with a girl in here and easily to play favourites? I mean, maybe it's Paul. Paul is in P2.
Yeah, he's having a great run at the moment, Paul, and you know that battle is right on, and those boys are still. Looks like Dylan DeBono's fallen about a second back off. And is that Riley's almost out to a second on Paul, so maybe he's finally standing with authority.
Have a look at Leakey and Brad Wall going side by side through the middle of the course. Turn 11. You don't go side by side through there. Are you crazy, boys? Apparently they are. They're loving it. Oh,
I can see that coming.
Just the slightest touch. That is the perfect epitome of rubbing is racing.
That's not a bump pass?
No, that's not, because the guy that's intending the bump pass is lost out in that, so that's totally fine.
That's true. Yeah. It's great to see. I mean, this is what we want to see, door banging. We want the guys having a go, you know. I mean, it's one of the Tyson reckons I'm not aggressive enough. I need to have a go a bit more. So that's what he wants to work with on me. So
step one, get some confidence under your sleeve, and I think you got that on Sunday night. Step two, start going, well, all right, well, if I'm quick enough to be here, now I can start racing these guys. And that's how it'll start working in. And it's so good because I'm just looking through our Discord server. If you haven't got an invite to the server, make sure you click all the links underneath the chat. 2 drivers I can see in the Discord server, in the same chat channel, Greg Leake and Brad Wall. So they will be laughing. I heard
there for Perla.
Here we go, Deacon Gerlin. We wanted some Gerlin action out on stream, and Dodds is going to go to his outside. We'll see if Doddsy can get it done.
Oh,
Long way around.
yes.
Yes, he does. He's been given a heap of room by Deacon Gerlin there. I think Deacon's just gone, you know what? I don't want to fight this one for too much longer.
Well, but again, as we've seen, as long as he keeps his line and that, stay on the back of Harry, next lap it could be him having that same go. It's just the toe, the advantage of the toe of these machines. And we see these battles where once you start to get two cars battling, that makes them about a second a lap slower. The guy behind catches up, so now it's a 3-car battle. And we've got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, generally, was that one big battle in the mid-pack, and these other couple of battles down, and that's what clumps them all together, mate. It's awesome to watch.
Oh, this is phenomenal. I'm thoroughly enjoying this out of everyone, because the best part, the hardest part for us as commentators is, where do you look? Who am I looking at? One of our leaders, Paul Gerlin, has actually just taken the transit through pit lane, so he is looking to break free, and taking tyres is the option. It is a hard track here, Interlagos on tyres, so up on the jacks does go Paulie Gerlin. I believe these cars do fuel and tyres at the same time, so he's got an opportunity to get some fresh rubber in that car, and will do so. Right, does
take him a bit of time to get up to temp though, buddy, so I have to see it. That's a great move. We might try and keep an eye on Paul's lap times over the next few laps and just see where he's at.
Well, I'm curious, so let's take a look at Riley Jones, for example. 42.833 was his best qualifying attempt, and currently his best race lap is a 43.0.
More importantly, his last lap was a 43.5.
Oh, we've got our first drive-through penalty. Somebody's fallen foul of Stewards, and it's Lil Pooey. And I don't think I can blame them.
Oh, no, and we lost Jace Douglas by the looks of it there. His connection loss. I think Jace had fallen down a lap. Maybe he's had a connection issue, and that's what made it hard for him to qualify. Oh, no, he did qualify 15th, but we didn't see what happened to Jace. So sorry to see that, buddy. Yeah, hopefully we'll have you back and racing right amongst the boys again.
Ladies and gentlemen as well, don't forget, shout out to all of the sponsors that make it possible for all of us. This is DSL Welding Services, Pagnian Advanced Imports, Melville Equipment Corporation, and of course Dragon RC. Those are our proud sponsors. If you want to get a part and get in and amongst the Sim Racing World crew, the best way to do so is through our Discord server. Contact one of the admins there. They'll be able to hook you up. We're always looking for new sponsors to join the Sim Racing World family, and that's the way we treat it. We are a big old family.
Don't forget our TCR naming sponsor. This is the DSL Welding Services TCR series here at Sim Racing World. And
speaking of DSL Welding Services, keep your eyes on Paulie Gerlin, who I believe is the lead contact there from DSL Welding Services. They gets involved with the sponsorship and gets involved in the racing as well. So Matty Gerard completes his stop, and he's going to run it away. And in the background was that Brad Wall. Was Brad Wall that was in the pit lane? Brad Wall's still in the pit lane. That is a penalty.
You think so? You might be
that
tired.
Is for sure a penalty, because Gerard has already gone. Gerard was only just in front of Brad Wall. He is sped on pit lane, I would say.
Oh no.
Or alternatively, you know what? He's crossed the pit lane entry line.
Yeah, that's possible, because that's probably more likely than speeding in here. It's one of those places that you've got to be careful as you come. Oh, well, no, it would be speeding, mate. It'd be speeding, because this is the one where you got that fast run in and you hit your braking marker, and there's that tyre wall there, so it's not a particularly hard one. You've got a nice, good marker to use. In the V8, you brake right on it. I'm not sure about these cars, so yeah, I think you're right, mate. He's back in 13th now, so that.
Well, the other thing is, the pit lane entry line is a very, very long white line, and I know at the Red Bull Ring, if you cross that line, at any stage, once that line starts, you get yourself an unsafe pit lane entry penalty. You're actually far better off crossing that line and going straight back out on the track.
That's very true too, because you've got to get inside fairly early, but and normally the racing line, you actually cross that and keep going.
Yeah, so anyway, that's one of the intricacies of driving here at Interlagos. De Bono might have done the fuel saving to go the furthest. Riley Jones is going to try and cover up both entries. Jones, I did not see go up on the jacks. So Riley Jones is going to come back out a long way up the road. In actual fact, I can't see Paulie Gerlin anywhere near.
Gerlin, it's showing him as a lap down. But he's not. No, he's a minute behind.
He is a minute behind, and Riley Jones, I think, is going to be a long, long way ahead of him.
Is that
in fact,
tyres were done separate?
Nathan Allen has actually pitted and come out. I believe Allen pitted from P5 or 6, and come out ahead of Riley Gerlin.
I think the question has been answered there about, you asked if tyres and fuel at the same time. Look at those pit times. So 35 seconds, and then you look at Paul Gerlin's 1 minute and 7 seconds, and the other big one was Bradley Wall with 1 minute 11 seconds. Caleb Gerlin, Randall Lupui with, no, it was Caleb Gerlin with a 1 minute stop. So is that a penalty, or did Brad take tyres as well?
Wow.
I didn't see. Yeah. Unfortunately, iRacing doesn't tell us if someone got a black.
I mean, it does up until they serve it. Once they've served it, the flag is removed.
No, it only tells it if they issued a black. Doesn't actually tell us if they cop one for
secret
going
hack.
over the thing.
Here's a secret hack, Kelly. If you're in the spectator view within iRacing and you open your entries screen, there's a flags list on the left-hand side, so you can actually see if somebody's got a meatball or a black flag.
Oh, cool. Didn't know that.
But only until once they serve the black flag, it disappears.
It disappears.
So, yeah.
Okay. Cool. There you go. Wall of information there, buddy. Awesome stuff. Mate, I'm still trying to find tricks with iRacing and tips and stuff, and you know, these guys would have buttons set up to clear tyres, or you know, put tyres only the left side on or the right side on, or clear fuel, put your fast repair on. One fast repair available these guys tonight, so you know.
You can actually create in-game chat channels as well, if you know that. So you can actually create your own voice and text chats within the game that anyone's welcome to join. You don't have a lot of control over. It's great for getting teammates or multiple teams that are in the same server within endurance races communicating.
Well, that's it. I mean, we get together and we communicate on Discord and that as mates and groups and all that, but you know, also being able to do it within the actual sim itself. Lap 16 now, buddy. So it looks like we've still got Harry Todds and is that Brand Tucker that have yet to pit. So they're
Tyson
running from
McAvoy.
third and fourth. And Tyson McAvoy as well.
Harry Dodds and Brent Tucker. Yep, so those are the three drivers left to pit. Everyone else has now completed their stops. So this is the effective running order, and Dylan DeBono is going to be the car that Riley Jones is probably trying to keep an eye on. DeBono's actually 13 seconds further back. He spent 10 seconds longer in the pits as well, did DeBono. So whether or not he's taken two tyres, McAvoy will now pit.
Done for speeding into the pit lane as well.
Wow.
Maybe it is, as you said, tyres and fuel at the same time. You know, Paul Gerlin has now did a 43.19 last lap, so he's definitely back on the pace again. Tyson McAvoy now into the pits, buddy, so we'll have to see where Tyson comes out.
Keep an eye on that car, see if it does go up on the jacks or not. I would say no. No, it doesn't go up on the jacks. So there you go, tyres and fuel done separately. Otherwise, those drivers will be taking a free set of rubber. Well, that is the deciding factor in the pit cycle here tonight. Harry Dodd's still yet to pit, but runs P2 at the moment. That's been the best opportunity for him to gain a whole bunch of time back. DeBono, however, has taken, I would say, about a second out of Jones. Riley Jones is a 144.0, so his tyres are fading. He's thrown, would you say a lizard on a stair?
Wow. You know, is that tyre call going to be a decisive factor? I mean, I think the thing is, those guys that took tyres would be hoping there'd be a safety car at some point, bunch everything back up, and then they've got the advantage. But, yeah, maybe it's a bold strategy from Paul and Bradley Wall. I think Deacon, looks like Deacon might have taken tyres as well. We've got Caleb Gerlin out there as well, so there's a whole tribe of Gerlins out on track at the moment, buddy.
Yeah, we got the whole family involved. They sponsor the series and then they just swarm it. That's how it works.
That's how it works.
If you build it, they will come. That's what I was told from a very famous movie. Toddy just in the background says, if you build it, they will race it. That is gold. That is gold. Toddy's on our cameras here tonight. It is the Chef Todd Meister. does a great job behind the scenes on Wednesday night as our broadcasting guy. Well, the DSL Welding Services TCRs continue to be spectacular, only the action's quieting down. Harry Dodds will finally decided that fuel tank is empty. Maybe he was running on battery power the few last laps. He got a secret battery installed. That's why he was slow in qualifying.
Well, Riley Jones seems to be the big gainer out of everything there. The gap is what, out to 8.5 seconds.
But it's coming down.
Dylan DeBono. Oh well, we don't think Dylan had a 10 second longer stop. Well, that's a bit strange. So we'll have to. We'll give us something to talk about with the boys too, and see if tyres were on the menu. I know in the second race tonight, the F3s, they will not be taking tyres. They're almost never on the menu, and it's pretty much the same with the Radicals tomorrow night too, buddy.
Well, have a look at this pit stop from Harry Dodds. Was situated about 14th or so. Got some fresh track by running long here in the middle of the race, and has opened himself up a nice little hole to come back out in. Plus a whole bunch of spots. David Leslie has popped out probably a long way back than he would have preferred, and Luapui, after serving that penalty, is still a long way. He's got 20 seconds to make up onto the rear end of Caleb Gerlin, so that will be his attempt at trying to resurrect some form of a race. It was just one too many dive bombs, I think, from Luapui and the stewards went, yeah, look, we the others maybe, but that one we can't let that one go.
That's all right, guys. Paul and Tate, and they're having their great conversation on YouTube there, but it's great to have your support, and good to see the Gerlins out in force tonight on track, as well as friends and family on the stream. So awesome. You know,
Tate sounds like the most eager apprentice I've ever heard of. He's trying to rustle up some welding work in the chat. Good to see you out there, Tate. So glad to have you along for the journey. Right, we now have about 13 minutes or so left to go in this race. The margins are pretty sparse up and down the field. Probably our closest fight on track at the moment is Nathan Allen and Matty Gerard. Gerard they've had basically even stops, and they'll come through. That's them in the background. You're looking at Tyson McAvoy. Well, those next two cars are the ones you've got to keep your eye on. The draft has been gained. Gerard is close enough. Gerard to the inside. Gerard still there. Allen tries to hang it around the outside, and Gerard will finally take it away and snap P4 away. But still, what a drive from Nathan Allen. This has been phenomenal from him so far.
The way that things have spaced out too after the pit stops, but he also, I think it tells us something about these racing is these cars tend to thrive when they're around each other. You know, get them in open space and that, and you know, I think the excitement is all about the close racing, and these things are designed in a way that that one in the front punches such a big hole that all the guys behind him can catch back up. When you put too much distance between them, it's not nearly as fun.
Well, I'm just keeping an eye on the lap times. Dylan DeBono has actually taken half a second out of Riley Jones, so he is going to continue to close. Unfortunately, unless those tyres fall off a cliff from Jones, that is going to run out of time. Nathan Allen's going to still manage to hold with and indeed get back up the inside of Matty Gerard, and this is another battle you've got your eyes on as well, that was Harry Dodds trying to chase down Brent Tucker. So, Nathan Allen's got back ahead of Matty Gerard. Now, Gerard's got the run. He has been in the slipstream. Is Nathan Allen going to juke left? Is he going to duck, dip, dive, and dodge? No, it's going to be Matty Gerard with the dive bomb. Sends it nice and deep. Has he pulled it up? He has. That is a great performance, pulling that one up for turn one from Gerard. But Nathan Allen's now going to get a crack at him on the run down through turn number 3. The center S is now complete. Is he going to have enough speed? And we get down here to turn number 4. And indeed, across to the inside, Gerard has now made his defensive move. Leaving on the straight, that will be viewed very poorly by the stewards, I believe. Whoa! Checks Allen up in the middle of the corner as well.
One thing I was going to say there, man, it's one of the great things about this track and why it's so well universally loved, is that was awesome battling, and you saw, was it Gerard go in deep, Nathan take T1 just a little bit further back, and then he's able to fight out of T3 going down the back. So it's like, you know, you can play it a couple of different ways. Go in deep and grab that line, or let him through and then put the pressure back on him again.
Man,
awesome.
there's a few more battles to keep your eyes on. Greg Leake has popped out in P6. Remember that penalty for Brad Walls dropped him a fair way off. Now it's going to be Paulie Gerlin that is going to tile onto him as well. So we've got to keep our eyes in the background of this one. Gerlin will be quite quickly up onto the rear bumper of both of these guys. And Brent and Dodds I've just seen swap positions on the timing tower as well. So keep your eyes further back, because it's battles now starting to reform up and down the field, and I get the feeling there's another one around 12th and 13th, which will be Sinkovic and another Gerlin. Well, I suppose when you've got 3 of them in the field, you're kind of going to mention them every now and again.
That's it. And looks like Paul's got a good run here. I think I heard Leakey on the radio just acknowledging the pulls there, so I don't think Leakey's going to fight this one too much.
Well, the run down to turn number 1 will decide things. Keep your eyes up and through the windscreen of these guys as well. That was Alan and Gerard going side by side down to turn number 1. Gerlin will have the inside here. I think you're right. I think Leakey just sort of has let that one go, and he'll be hoping for a little bit of a draft. Tie himself back onto the pack ahead, which is Alan and Gerard. That'll be a great opportunity for Leakey to snag himself potentially a P5 out of the next late in this race. That'll be a great result for Leakey. Right, 9 minutes left on the clock. Can we jump another spot further back? Let's have a look at our 8th and 9th battle, because it is raging on the run into turn number 4 at this point in time as well, which is Dodds and Tucker. Looks like Dodds has got the move done now. Let's see if he can start to pull away, because again, he'll keep his eyes up through the windshield, and he'll have a hope of tagging onto the rear end of Greg Leake as well.
Again, as long as these guys don't battle too hard, I mean, as we said before, once you start to battle each other, then you slow each other down, and you give that chance for the guys to catch up. So maybe that's a smart move by Leakey, letting Paul through to maintain this gap back here, because these guys are at the moment 5 seconds back, and we've probably only got about 4 or 5 laps remaining in this race, buddy.
Yeah, so you have to keep your eye on it. Something else I'm keeping my eye on as well is that battle between Sinkovic and Gerlin, because that is still being reasonable. Whoa, here we go! Warning to Matty Gerard for weaving on the straights. 1 defensive move and 1 defensive move only, and he definitely made 3.
Yeah, that was pretty close there.
So
It's also super close between is that Tyson McAvoy and Nathan Allen. That battle for the last podium position, but he's heating up as well by the looks of it. Oh no, 6 seconds it says. Oh, I thought that interval was a lot closer then. It's Nathan Allen to Matty Gerard that is just continuing that battle.
So it was just a warning from the stewards. It's just more of a, hey, we've seen it. No more.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
That's perfect. There was no real major comment made about it. It was just more of a, and Gerard just fired back and said, yeah, look, the racing's actually been really, really fun. I'm only doing it because he was doing it. You're saying warning to all drivers? Yeah, warning to all drivers. That's it. No more. We've seen it now. Cool. No problem. Doesn't care. Just wants to be consistent.
I think maybe a couple of the newer guys to the league that weren't aware of that, but it's a rule that we like to enforce here. We want to encourage battles, and anything that is going to detract from that or make it unpredictable with the braking area and stuff like that is just not on.
Well, I mean, it's more than that. It's about it then puts a lot of emphasis on getting that first defensive move right. Because if you make that first defensive move way too early, you leave yourself vulnerable. If you leave it a lot later on, and maybe halfway down that straight you move to the middle of the track, then it's a difficult decision to be car behind. Then you're making smarter decisions. So it actually encourages smarter driving as well.
Or sometimes you've got to move over all the way and make sure you get straight over to the inside and block it right from the word go. Don't move again, because that gets you penalties, Cowie, don't know.
At least you're honest. Well, keep your eyes.
As we talked about before, mate, you've got to be honest with yourself.
That's it.
Had a little bit of a sniff there,
and
Matty.
Keep an eye on the background now, because Paulie Gerlin is coming, and the margin between these guys is now down to less than 2 seconds. Gerlin last lap went a 43.3. Matty Gerard just ahead of him a 44.6, 1.3 seconds. He's going to be on these guys in a heartbeat, and if he needs to get by quickly, he can't stuff around, because Leakey will take that opportunity and run with it as well.
Yeah, well, he fell off the back a little bit of Paul's pace there. But again, once Paul joins the battle, then you have 3 cars battling, and they're going a second a lap slower, and the 4th car is going great. Keep battling, boys. Let me catch up. Problem is, we've only got 3 minutes remaining, so we're probably only looking at 2, maybe 3 laps remaining in the race. There's not a lot of time to get it done.
Leaky will have the fishing net out. He will be wetting the line, hoping for something to happen up ahead. He always looks for a late race opportunity when people get aggressive. Leaky's always there to clean up when other people will throw something in the water. Dodsey still trying to come, but I think he's now out of that equation. Between P12 P13, Deacon Girl and Dean Sinkovich finally resolved itself in Deacon Girl's favour as well. So starting to get to the conclusion of this race, things are winding down. Formula 3s we've got up next. I believe we're heading to Japan. Mate. We're heading to Suzuka for that one.
Yeah, been doing a bit of practice there for the V8 Supercars this week. It's the official series for iRacing is there, and it is such a technical track, and F3's that left-right flick through all those snaky S's. It's going to be awesome to watch.
Very difficult to overtake at Suzuka as well in cars that really don't want you to go door-to-door wheel-banging racing. So you'll have all of that to follow the conclusion of the TCRs. Well, it is still tight between Nathan Allen and Matty Gerard. But Nathan Allen will be sitting here and saying, I think I might be able to call this one home. He's so close now. Whether or not Gerard's just biding his time. And Gerlin did not make any time on them that lap. He held the margin very, very steady. You know who is running slower lap times? It's actually Riley Jones is starting to drift back just a fraction.
He's got 9-second advantage. He's just taking any element of risk out. I think bringing his braking markers, forward a metre or two. Just take those marginal calls out of the equation because he's got such a big gap. He can afford to crawl home almost.
The larger lap time around here, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your eye on that track map. Riley Jones has just come out of the final corner. That's that car top right on the map. The blue car on the map. There is no lap traffic in sight, so it will be an outright race to the finish for everyone involved. He's going to cross the line here, and this is important. What's the timestamp when he does cross the line? If it's 42, we're going to see 2 more laps left to run, so they'll get the white flag next time by. Riley Jones sitting quite comfortable there.
Yeah, and as I said, and what I was saying there before, it's not like he's dropped his pace off because he just did a 43.7 last lap. But you just take a little bit of those, marginal calls back a little bit. You don't have to push quite as hard. Brake a metre earlier just to make sure of it, rather than pushing the limit every lap. The problem with it is that if you take too much off, then you go off the boil and you lose your concentration, and that's where you make a mistake.
Hang on. Remember how I said Paulie Gillen didn't make any time on the previous lap? Well, he just made a whole host of time. He took 0.7 of a second. He is just outside the 1 second range. Once you get inside 1 second, you start getting draft support. And indeed, after he comes through the centre S's, he's in range. So, Gerlin will tie himself in.
Lap and a half to go, so he's maybe timed this to perfection. P5 and P4 on the line.
Oh, Allen runs wide now down at turn 4, and he's handed a whole bunch of the gap back. So this is going to be a 3-way scrap for the place that just misses the podiums. P4, P5, P6. It is on Cowie with a lap left to run. If you were Paulie Gerlin, where are you making this move?
I think he'd be looking to try and get it T1 if he can get a great run down the straight here, back straight.
And then see if he can crack off 2 and get Allen down into turn 4?
Well, I think if he's got any chance of getting both these guys, he's got to get the first one done at T1. So, a little bit of a look there. But, again, yeah, if he gets it done T1, then it means he's got the next section to try and get up onto Nathan and maybe have a go at him near the end of the lap.
Needs to keep his eyes through the rear front of his car, because if he's looking backwards, he's in trouble. If he keeps looking forwards, he's every chance here. Now, Matty Gerard's had a little bit of a run, so this one is getting spicy. White flag's already been collected for P1 and P2. They are on their run home. Tyson McAvoy in P3 will now grab his white flag and say 1 lap left to run as well. 26 laps. Barry on the right-hand side. He's going to wave that thing all day long. Looking for 3 wide into turn number 1. Down the inside. Paulie Gerlin's going to get that spot. And now Gerard will slot back in behind them. And he's got a poor run out of turn 2. Now, turn 3. Gerlin lines him up. He's going to need to be deep into that draft. He's going to have Alan pull him along. Has he got enough momentum? Is he close enough? Is he closing? That's the critical thing on the run to turn number 4. He's going to shove the nose in anyway. Gerlin makes the apex. Makes through! Make through, Paulie Gerlin! Take your hat off to him, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Matty Gerard will seize upon the opportunity because Allen was forced wide into turn 4. And now, it's going to be Nathan Allen who gets a little bit of draft support himself. Maybe he's got enough to hold off a hard-charging Matty Gerard. Has he got enough left in the tank?
So
And
do I need
Dodds-
to buy a lottery? Do I need to buy a lottery ticket, buddy? Because I called that.
Dodds
Got it
has
precise.
caught onto the back of Greg Leake here as well, so don't outthink that there's not another battle to look at. Leaders are now going to cross the start-finish line. Riley Jones will win here. Dylan DeBono will take home P number 2, and without further incident, it will be McAvoy in P3. That's your race winner, Riley Jones, there on screen. Back to the last corner. It's going to be enough here for Paulie Gerlin. He's going to boat away from these guys and get it done. So it will be McAvoy in P3, Paulie Gerlin in P4, Nathan Allen in P5, and what a battle that was in the last lap, and Matty Gerard P6, and then throw it back because that gap, I think, closed up. Yes, there's nothing in it from Harry Dodds. It's too far back, though. The run to the line is too short. He's closing. One more lap for Harry Dodds, and it would have been P7.
Which is a good recovery from Harry because he got caught up there early on with a couple of big battles and bit of door banging that he ended up on the wrong side of. Back into P8, that's a great drive.
Well,
Good effort
something
from the team
I would
boys
like
there.
to point out is I think your seasons are defined not by the races you win, but by the races you don't do so well in. And I think your driver of the night for me has got to be Tyson McAvoy. With that drive, where did he start on the grid? Was it P12? Was P12?
Well, buddy, up 9 positions, mate, and he just got to the front, carved his way through the madness there, the first couple of laps, and then just settled in. Ultimately, you know, I think that gap, Paul Gerlin, Riley Jones and Dylan DeBono, they opened up really early on, and Tyson never got a chance of catching it. But look at this. Was that over the line? He got that, was it? I think Caleb, how close was that interval?
Luapui gets it.
Wow.
Get it by
Well, that was a great race,
1-3.
mate. I mean, oh, it was awesome stuff. So, again, it almost seems like we don't get much of a breath when we're watching the TCRs and calling it. Because there's always
I
something
don't
happening.
care. Do you care?
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
enjoying myself.
Oh,
It's great.
You're the one who won't have to talk tomorrow at work. Nice one now, so you're screaming tonight.
Mate. I work in data. I don't talk anyway.
Fair enough. I was going to say, you know, I think if I tried to go to your levels, it'd be just too much for this.
Speaking about too much for the stream, how about those flashing headlights for Tyson McAvoy? Great drive from him to bring it home in P3. There was signs of optimism from Bradley Wall. He was up P5, P6 sort of range. A great drive from him to put the car in those pieces. And again, it's going to be the drivers that take the opportunities when they were handed to them. And Nathan Allen is one of those drivers there tonight in P5. What a great fight it was all night long between himself and Matty Gerard. That was awesome to watch. Greg Leake and Brad Wall, they won't care about what the broadcast, they won't care about what the finishing results are. They'll be sitting over there going, man, that was just so much fun.
Well, it's one of those series that, you know, if you like driving these cars, you've got to get in it because there is so many battles up and down the field, the whole field. You know, we were talking about battles, you know, battling for the last positions in the top 10. And we were focused on that as much as anywhere else. So, you know, we love seeing those battles, and Sim Racing World TV here, we're going to focus on them, buddy. It's where the action is. That's where we want to be.
I want to see an MX5 league come out next season. I think that's about the only way that we can really step this up. So,
Toddy said he's in, so
yeah. So we'll have to get the support for it out there, ladies and gentlemen. At home, if you want to get your name on a car, if you want to get involved in the SRW, maybe there's an opportunity in an MX5 league. If you support it, they will come. Boys, main notes from that race. Do you have anything that you want to pinpoint, Kelly, before we head into the interview stage?
Oh, I don't see. Pinpoint maybe, you know, did the boys up front, did they notice the carnage in their mirror? Because it was all going on there at the start. It looks like we've got all three of our podium sitters in the green room, buddy, so
we'll crack on with those interviews. Yeah, straight away.
Yeah, but
well,
awesome.
Cowie, I don't let Tyson interview Dodsey, but you know what? I might just let you interview Tyson.
Well, boss, how'd you go, mate? That was an awesome race. You saw the carnage before you, and you parted your way through it, mate, and found yourself at the front. Awesome drive.
I wouldn't say that, mate. I'd just say last of the late breakers, McAvoy is back at it. P12 to P3, mate.
That's not a comparison. That is not a fair comparison. He is so much better than you. Get out of here, McAvoy.
Yeah, that's what it was, brother. I sent it. I had a pretty poor qualifying. I wasn't impressed with my times, but as you could see, my race pace was there, and I kept the guys probably 5 seconds back the entire race once I made those passes. Doddsy had a little bit of a how you going moment, but that's how you going. So I'm pretty happy with P3 after that.
Well, it was a cracker drive. We did see a couple of those early dives, so I was only giving you a bit of jibe there. But mate, it was awesome racing and trying to go 3 wide. You guys are doing it, pulling it up. You call yourself last of the late breakers. That's
I think I proved it tonight, didn't I?
Well, that's what you needed to do around here by the looks of it. It seemed the guys that were prepared to send it and go a bit deeper, a couple of guys maybe didn't execute it quite right, but for the most part, the racing seemed pretty good out there.
Yeah, I saw a lot of doors opening, so I just saw the hole and went for it, and then was pretty lucky through turn 1. Then going side by side for about 4 or 5 corners there with Karch, I think it was 666, was quite fun. I was not giving him the spot. I said it was mine and I'm taking it. And that's what I did.
Well, tyres weren't on the menu for you. Did any of the boys talk about it out there, taking tyres?
I chopped my tyres pretty bad, but I was not taking them because I was like, the only way I'm going to attempt to get back in this race is to just send it, and I again missed my pit box. So, anyway. So we're going to talk about that, Scotty.
I'm only laughing because I do it all the time as well.
I practiced it and practiced it and practiced it, and I got my entry perfect. I got my exit perfect, but I ran over the bloody pit dude again. So yeah, he doesn't like me.
Before you run over anyone else that supports our team, maybe you better let us know who are the names behind Performance Sim Racing, buddy.
You're next, Cowie. You're next.
Just Tyson McAvoy. He's behind it. That's all. Nah, just a big shout out to the major sponsors: Toyo Sims, Track Racer, Too Easy Finance, Cowie Music. If you ever see or you're in Brisbane, you want to get a gig, give Cowie a call. I heard he's okay. But
thanks, man.
Definitely. And my men's mental health initiative, hashtag talk to me, bro. If you need a bro, don't be afraid to shout out to your mate and say, hey, tell him what's going on.
Awesome stuff, buddy. Well, congratulations on P3, mate. You missed last week's round, but you've got 2 podiums from 2 visits to the TCRs. You're loving it.
Yeah, it's just no practice, sending it. I think I threw away a win last time out, so to be consistent with another podium, no pressure for next week, so we're good.
Awesome, mate. Well, thanks very much for coming down, having a chat with us, and congratulations.
Thanks, boys.
All right, so we're going to grab Dylan next, buddy.
Yep. Go right ahead if you've got him.
All right, Dylan. Well done, buddy. P2. I'm going to throw it to Scotty because I did the last questions, and he actually let me question my teammate. Now, I know we've been talking about poaching you two for the team, but I'll give you to Scotty and he can talk to you about the interview, right?
Well, I was actually going to say, Dylan, you have no patience whatsoever, do you? None, because it was on. You were just like, I've got to be P1. I've got to be P1 now, and by the end of turn 1, you were P1.
Yeah, well, I've figured out that the Audi actually gets a lot better starts than any other car. I figured that one out. Poor Riley in the Honda is going to have a hard time. But, yeah, I just thought my mindset was if I get to the front as quick as possible, just find a gap and stay out of the trouble. And
that's it, right there, on screen. That's the move. Oh, no, sorry, my apologies. It was Paulie Gerland. My apologies with P2. I got excited.
Yeah.
How were the tyres at the end, mate? Because you were battling pretty hard for pretty much the whole race. So, how did they hold up?
The thing was, in the pit stop, I was right behind Riley going in, and then when I came out, I was way behind. I figured out that I forgot to untick one tyre, so that's what made my pit stop too long. And
10 seconds longer, we noticed that.
Yeah, after that, then my car was driving a bit like a boat. One left-hand they would turn in well, right-hand just understeer like a pig. But other than that, it was pretty fun racing. It's always good racing around this track with the slipstream, but yeah.
How good has this series been so far? Because it's been racing each and every week, and it's been racing hard each and every week. There's rarely been an opportunity to surface for air.
Yeah, definitely tonight. At the end of the race is really the only time we've been that far apart, and yeah, it's always good racing with these guys.
Looking forward to next week, I believe we're on to actually Barcelona.
Yeah.
And I don't actually have the actual format, so I'm assuming it's probably going to be the F1 format, so there'll be a little bit curbs involved at all ends of the track. Similar, actually, really to Interlagos. You got yourself a reasonable setup, feeling comfortable there as well?
Yeah, I'll most of the time go pretty well at Barcelona. It's just tricky there because the corners are so long, and particularly in the front wheel drive car, you've got a lot of understeer just naturally, so that'll be something to deal with, and saving tyre a little bit as well, I think.
Righto, mate. Well, congratulations on another podium finish. P2 here in the TCRs here tonight. Your opportunity.
You want to give a shout out to? Yeah.
Thank the sponsors.
Yeah, firstly, big thanks to Velocity Sim Labs, all the help they do. Nathan behind the scenes, he helps out a lot. Someone to practice with, that goes a long way. Practicing pedals, brakes, and suspensions. Original digital design, JS Sim Shots, and you guys for putting on the stream. I know how much effort goes into it. SRW for supplying us with a good league to race in, and the race control. Without them, I don't think any of us would finish.
Thanks, mate. Much appreciated, Dylan. Ladies and gentlemen, Dylan De Bono, tonight's P number 2. And finally, onto the race and therefore round winner. It is going to be the 99 driver of Riley Jones. Riley, another cracking battle. Pit lane strategy will win it for you in the end, but how good is it week in, week out? You've always got De Bono lurking, and there's always another driver in that top 3 that are going head to head, lap after lap after lap. It's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, mate. It's it keeps us on and keeps us occupied while we're going, and the racing's been really good, mate. And obviously I had that little drama last week, but it's good to bounce back. So yeah.
I think probably one of the most defining features that we're going to talk about probably right throughout the season is you're going to have an off round. You're going to have that off round, and something's going to happen, but it's how you respond through the course of that round. So you think you responded well last week? Do you think maybe your round is probably still coming your way, that bad round? How are you going to deal with that when it crops up?
No, I think last week I had the spicy cough, so I think it's sort of come my way that I sort of knuckled down and went, you know what, I need to put some hours in, and it sort of paid off. And no, I think my round's gone. Those short sprint races and the reverse grid is what got me. You get caught up by a couple of drivers, and it's hard work. And Dylan knows how to do it, and I just know how to race when there's a couple of us, and I like to race close. And yeah, we always racing hard. I like the pressure too. It sort of makes it, the racing as good as it is to watch.
Talk to me a little bit more about that pressure, because it does force, perhaps, sometimes some drivers will respond to the pressure by being a little bit more aggressive. Some drivers will respond to that pressure by being a little bit passive. You seem to me to sort of be walking this mid-ground. You do want to shove the nose, but very early on, it's sort of as this race develops, you've got this improving level of aggression. You're not just diving it hard from lap 1.
No, and I think, with what I race normally through the week in the GT3s, you learn a bit of patience, and in these cars, because they're not as quick, they don't brake as hard, they don't accelerate as hard, you have to be patient. And when you've got someone like Dylan or Paul ran an excellent first stint, and Tyson ran a really good first race when he was here. It's just, you just need to be patient and just wait for the right time. And thankfully, I saw the opportunity on that through the chicane on the first corner there, and I pounced, and that was it. From there on, I just knew that I had to stay there and do the best I can. That pressure definitely was breathing down my neck, and I just wanted to keep it on and keep focused and knew my goal.
I think one of the most important things as well is actually we're seeing different names in the front pack each week. So obviously yourself and Dylan DeBono have been right there, and these two have been the ones that are always in that front pack. But we've also seen Matty Gerard part of that front pack. Last week we saw Lua Pui finish in P2 in the feature race. This week it was Paulie Gurlin. How good is it to see that there's sort of an ebb and flow? Some drivers have just got that track that they're so good at, and they're right there, and they're challenging you in a completely different way. That when it's the same guys, you get and you sort of understand where they're strong. But when it's a different driver each week, it's every race you're learning how they drive.
Yeah, that's it, mate. And you know, I think we're going to always have that through the entire season. You're going to have people, you know, that love the short tracks, love the long tracks, and all around the people that are fast in general. So I think when you get those people and you learn their strengths and weaknesses, and you know, I've raced with Dylan for a while now, and we both have sort of raced together and raced apart, and I think we know that we just need to, like, he gave me a much needed room on that first lap, and I tell you what, if I didn't have that, I think there would have been some dramas. So, you know, I love seeing the boys up there, and I love the people that are in it. They want to race hard and they race fair. It's good.
Well, mate, it's been an awesome opportunity for you to again show your strengths, and obviously that pit stop's gone your way again there tonight. So, mate, your now opportunity to thank all the sponsors that make it possible for you.
Yeah, thanks, Scotty. I'd like to thank Oakcrest Electrical, RPJ Transport, Fast First Aid, and obviously Paul and the boys at Man Up Sim Racing. They get behind me every week, and cheers from the broadcast team. Cheers, eh?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is race and round number 3 winner, Riley Jones from the driver of the 99.7 for Man Up Sim Racing. If you thought that was all there is to come, you are sadly mistaken. The cars that are currently on the screen in front of you, Formula 3, won't be coming from Road Atlanta, which is that track. It will be coming from Japan. Suzuka, it's tight, it's twisty, it's high downforce, and that tends to make for great racing in cars that don't have a lot of pull away. We are coming to you the other side of a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with you for the Formula 3. spoon curve. You get to go underneath the bridge. And then there's all this fun stuff, this high downforce stuff before you brake for a very slow chicane. Cowie, it is a monster. Suzuka is one of those tracks that's in legend. If you haven't driven Suzuka, are you really a sim racer?
Technical, mate, this place. Actually started out as Honda's test track, didn't it? And yeah, as you said, the big feature is that figure 8 where the track goes under and over.
It's not a clockwise circuit, it's not an anti-clockwise circuit, it's actually half of both.
It is too.
There's only a couple of these in the world, and this is
that's-
probably the one that features most prominently.
Yeah, Furiano is the other one that's F1 graded. Us sim racers would know Oran Park is one as well, that sadly no longer exists.
And most importantly, the figure 8 at Irwindale. Have you seen that racing? That is amazing. Have you seen like the actual real life racing? That stuff is mental. They do like 6 hours of figure 8 racing. It's great. You know, if you want to go and watch something, if you really so I'm doing well at the moment. I put Shibby onto Arca Break Weekly. I'm going to put you onto figure 8 racing at this rate.
Well, my experience of figure 8 racing would be at the Demolition Derby as a kid, watching them crash into each other.
I mean,
no tunnels there.
That's no. There's no tunnels. Like where they actually do it in the States, there is no tunnels.
Same thing, yeah. I grew up watching that stuff as a kid. We used to go to Parramatta and Granville Raceway and watch the sprint cars and the Demolition Derby and all that sort of stuff. It was awesome.
Right,
but these here, they can't do any Demolition Derby stuff in these things.
Well, you can.
We've seen the brake when a paperclip lands on them.
That's what I'm saying. You can do Demolition Derby stuff. Not very successfully, but you can attempt it. That's fine. Look, if you showed up to a Demolition Derby with your Formula 3 car, no one's going to turn you away. People are going to strongly suggest that you need to have your brain checked, but that's a separate problem.
Just a little bit like that, but we'll see how close the guy's going, because that first section, the first sector of this lap, that windy left-right nature, I was doing some practice in the supercar today, and it wasn't much of a fan of that. I think these things you're going to be able to fly up between each other, but if you're trying to flick the car through there quickly, high downforce, get it wrong, and it's going to be really messy.
And one of the critical factors is we do have another endurance race here, another hour of racing from Suzuka. So I was going to say, I think it's probably going to be more concerning to go through Sector 1 multiple times, having just launched away with fresh tyres. Not going to be the case here tonight. Another hour edition of Formula 3. That's what you've got coming your way. Right, lap time starting to hit the deck, and who's looking solid? Actually, no, sorry, my apologies. It's a 2-minute warm-up lap. It's a 2-minute lap to get back out there before you can start your lap. So everyone's on their first flyer.
There no times on the board just yet. It's good to see we've got a nice, good, strong field as well. Looks like we've got, is that 22 or 23 cars there? So a couple of guys that have signed up joined in. So we'll have to see if maybe they haven't been able to make the racing. See what it is we've had a big, long practice session. And the fact that it's been a 2-hour practice, you might have seen guys jump in, have a bit of a go, practice, put a lap down, but not be able to race tonight. So maybe hang on. Those numbers are inflated.
I'm seeing 20 cars out on track.
Well, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, 22 is a race field, but I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 names that are still greyed out. So whether or not they've been in the session and they've dropped out. So I'll have to keep an eye on the grid. But we had a great grid for the TCRs, and that was awesome action. Suzuka, well, this is a track that is a favourite amongst the F1 drivers, so it should perfectly suit these machines, buddy.
Hey, I thought they just said every track was their favourite, just in the media. Oh, which track's your favourite? Oh, it's this track. This track. Yeah, where are we this weekend? Don't remember. This track's my favourite.
Well, that's the political answer, isn't it?
You got to keep the fans. And if I go to every racetrack and I tell them that this one's my favourite, the fans there are happy. They go buy my more merch.
Are you sure you're not a musician? Because that's what you do. You know, you're the best crowd I've ever had.
Mate, you are the best commentator I've ever worked with.
There you go. That's it. Glad to see you learning from Master here. Leaky's put a shout out in the chat. So great result in the last race, buddy. Was that P7 in the TCRs? Got to be pretty chuffed with yourself. Qualified in the top 10 as well, Leaky. So you can sit back and relax and watch the the other Greg take on the F3s. I think is that Greg Johnson out there? I think he don't know if he's put in a time yet, but I think he's out there. Yeah, not on the track at the moment, but hopefully we'll get him out there and he can get a time down. Only 15 minutes, mate. It's not a lot of time to qualify. These cars would only just be warming up after 15 minutes of going around here, wouldn't they?
There's a few drivers rejoining us as well. The field's starting to really grow in just about all of our series. You know, I've still had applications to join the NASCAR truck server, and I thought, 30, that's a reasonable field. It continues to grow. We continue to get new entries, so it is still coming in. Ladies and gentlemen, entries for Season 3 of SRW close this Sunday night. So if you're sitting back, you're watching, you've got a sim rig in at home, and you're thinking about having a crack, you've got until Sunday to decide if you want to become a Sim Racing World member for the current season. Other than that, we'll be back again in, 11 weeks' time? 10, 11 weeks' time? When, or it'll be less than that now. It'll be more like 9 weeks' time.
Round 3. I think it's a 9-round season this
It is
this
only 9
season
rounds.
because just some clashes with Scops and some of the other big sim racing events on the calendar, so don't run into them. And of course, I think the next season of the official of iRacing, week 1 is the Bathurst 1000, mate, so don't want to clash with that one.
What do you mean? What event? What? I've never heard of that race ever.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Just remember where you are, buddy.
The Bathurst 12 hour? Yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah. There's no blasphemy allowed at Sim Racing World.
You know, here's the thing. I've lived on the Central Coast now for 3 years. I opened up a map the other day for the first time and went, Bathurst's only just over there. I should be going to that.
There is a mountain range in the road, but, you know.
Mate, there's a mountain range in the road no matter which way you go from Gosford, to be perfectly honest. To head to Sydney, mountain range. To head to Bathurst, mountain range. To head west, mountain range. To head north, mountain range. All right. Well, okay, you can get on a boat.
Now, Toddy did mention earlier a bit of a shout out there to Joe Daly, who's back with us. I think Joe had some issues and missed us last week. Christopher Island, straight to the top. Matt Him, look at that. There is about 6 or 7 cars all into the 51s around here, the 1 minute 51s. And it's getting hot at the top, buddy.
Oh, it is.
And we're about halfway through quali.
And most importantly, Steven Sinkovich is not last on the timing sheet yet. So, Stephen Barra, no, get quicker than that. You can't let that happen. Put Steve last, mate.
Steve Barra is actually an old sprint car driver, mate. So
there you go.
Yep. So he's was giving me some tips for last night, and was actually looking pretty good until the car in front of me decided to block the track, and I hit him at full pace.
That happens. That's typical Cowie luck, from what I understand.
But it's good to see a few of the guys that I know and have sort of follow my YouTube channel and see that I race with you guys. So hopefully I am bringing a few names in. It's good to see a few of the boys come along and join in the fun.
Mate, it's been awesome to see the season, and then new names to the league as well. That's the big thing. It's one thing to see drivers from sort of other classes jump in and have a go, and then you go, oh yeah, I'm actually enjoying this, something to try. But then you see new names that you haven't seen before. Your Loretti's, your Lydens, Nathan Vernon. We've seen a whole bunch of. Darren Fay is a new name to me. But it's just been so good to see each of the leagues succeed sort of within their. You've got your TCR drivers now, you've got your Porsche Cup drivers now, you've got your V8 Supercar drivers, your Radicals.
It's one of those things that, when you try to offer multiple bits of content, you'll have drivers like, I know myself, like I love the V8 Supercars. I've now signed on to do the dirt ovals, sprint cars. I managed to squeeze in a race of the Radicals on Thursday night as well before my other engagement. And then if I do another Supercar series on a Friday night, between league racing and official racing, I'm doing 3 different tracks for Supercars, plus a track for the dirt ovals and a track for the Radicals as well. So I don't know how some of these guys fit in, more than one car. I'm struggling to focus on the V8 and muck around in the other 2. Yet some of these guys are super fast in everything, mate.
Well, the biggest, it seems to be the culture, because you look at Chris Island, he's come in, he's joined the trucks, and now he's out here driving Formula 3. It may have been he was already registered for one of these series, and now the commitment level sort of just crossed over, and he's been able to.
I think that maybe the NASCAR brought a few of those boys up, because these are the Senate Sims racing boys.
Yeah, but
they love the NASCAR and have come into this series as well. Plus,
because it's more than that. It's when you get a good core set of drivers for one league, they're going, I'm loving the racing here. I'm chatting to a few of the boys on Discord. We've seen the Fishy boys. They're such a huge, big part of the league. Haven't really dipped their toes majorly here into the Formula 3s. That's not sort of the thing. They're into the tin tops, and that's generally the culture that surrounds that team. So that's been really good to have them on board. But now you're starting to see it across the other teams. We'll have a look at the Man Up boys. They've now started to investigate and get a little bit more involved. We've got Riley Jones that's just won the TCRs. You've got Dylan DeBono that's gone from racing one series to racing just about everything. You've got Nathan Allen, who's getting right out there and into things.
Well, he's another sprint car guru himself, and he's jumping into road cars, which is great to see.
Yeah, and but what that says to me is it's not about the results, and I think that's what everyone's after when they jump here into sim racing. Look, I can sit here and say, yeah, I've been lucky enough in one of the former iterations of sim racing to say, yes, I'm actually a champion. But that's not what drew me to the league. What drew me to the league was I really wanted to race some more Porsche Cup. What kept me in the league was that league culture. And the league culture here is completely and utterly different to everything I've ever experienced on the sim. It's so friendly. It's so giving back. It's I sat there and watched Leaky on Monday night giggle himself stupid whilst getting punted in a NASCAR. And that is exactly what it's all about. It's the silliness. It's
getting punted in a NASCAR. No.
Well, I mean, what are you doing? What are you doing on a Tuesday night? You're sliding around in a car that you've never driven before. Why? Because it looks fun. That's what it's all about. It's getting back.
I loved them as a kid. Loved them as a kid, mate. So I was always going to have a go, and I think I bought the V8 Supercar first. I had to buy the RUF to get out of D class, and I think once I got to the Supercars, I then bought a sprint car.
Mate, I want to
have a go at that, but I had a mission when I got an iRacing, so.
You just mentioned one of my favourite cars as well as the RUF, and I don't see
RUF.
none of that. Yeah. Did you know that's actually the fastest car in iRacing in a straight line?
Is it? Well,
Yes.
I picked up my first race victory for iRacing in the RUF in the D-class races.
The problem is you're going to get the H pattern version. So the RUF's actually got like 6 different versions of it. One of them's the track, which used to be the Porsche the old style GT3s, which also included Cadillacs and things like that. But yeah, there's specific. The thing about the rough is it's the same as a sprint car. You buy one, you get sort of others. So when you buy the Dirt Sprint winged car, you get the 305, the 360, and the 410. You buy the wingless, you get the same in the wingless, and then you buy the rough, you get like 6 roughs. So it's not actually the one that you race in. It's the H pattern type gearbox. It gets up to close to 400 kilometers an hour in a straight line, but it shifts so much. With the front end of it, it's got no weight on it.
Yeah.
So you're just wheeling across some of the bumps, particularly like it would run a slow lap around the Nürburgring, mind you.
Well, we're not looking at slow laps here, buddy. Look at that. Chris Island has got into the 1 minute 50.85. Matty Jones was sitting on a 150.90. Now on a he was on a 150.91. He bettered his time on the lap by 100th.
So the margin between P1 and P2 at this stage is 0.052. Yes, that's 500ths and 2,000ths of a second. You know what? You can't blink that quickly. It is insanely quick that's going on around here at the moment. Throw it back to Adrian Loretti. He's only 0.3 of a second further distant. Darren Fahey. This is where the mid-pack starts to form. Because remember, have a look at over the hours worth of racing. We still had racing through that mid-pack. Brucey White's languishing a little bit, I think, for him tonight down in P11 after the pace that he showed last week. But maybe this is just a feeling thing, not quite as comfortable.
Well, it's also a track we don't come to very often, I think, in much iterations. I know there's lots of guys out there that love Suzuka, and it is one of those tracks that I think you buy it fairly early on and have a go on it. But there's not a lot of official racing and not a lot of leagues that come here, so probably a first for some of these guys racing the F3 around here this week.
Righto, so we are down inside the final minute of qualifying. Matty Jones has just had a huge moment at Spoon Curve. He may have been on a lap that would have toppled Christopher Island off the pole. Christopher Island has just started a fresh lap. He's just on a 56.8, so may have been trying to cool off those tyres and go for another lap. Troy Dooley's coming through the last sector at the moment. Then you will have Matty Ireland. Ireland, he is done. Ireland just hit the barriers in the middle sector of the lap. His qualifying is done. He will not better that time. Matty Jones has got 10 seconds to get back across that start-finish line. He will make it to start another lap just by the... Oh, it's so close. It's so close. He crossed the line. He had 2 seconds. 2 seconds did Matty Jones have to cross that line and start a new lap. So, Matty Jones will have another crack at this one. He wants the pole. He hasn't been denied the pole so far. Will this lap be the lap for Matty Jones? Drivers crossing the line at this point in time. P9, Joe Daly, that's where he will stay. P5 at the moment is Andrew Lydon. He's about to cross the start-finish line. We're getting an on-board lap with Matty Jones, courtesy of the man who's won both our races so far. Well, Lydon was not able to improve his position. P15 at the moment is Steven Sinkovic. P10 is going to be Wade Reynolds as well. Those drivers are in the final sector now. P7 is Nathan Burney, and P8 is Jack Allisey. Those drivers are right on the end of a lap. But all eyes are on our current P number 2. That may have been an incident point, and that may be lap over. He's continuing on with it, which says he might be okay here, Cowie. No, he's done.
Until he goes into the wall.
That was an incident point. That will cancel and void the lap.
He carried on right through the apex that time, I think. That was... Maybe he had the YouTube stream up in the top corner and saw that we're on board. So he thought he'd give us a look at that tyre barrier there up close. Just as long as you're not sitting at home watching in VR, then that might have been a little bit sickening.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, your qualifying session for Formula 3 from Suzuka is now done. The names on the board are what you will be seeing for your qualifying grid. That's practice results. We moved on from practice into qualifying. Good job, Toddy. We got there in the end.
Maybe we've got to wait for it to tick over before it'll let you bring it up. Yeah, it's not letting you tick over because the session hasn't completed yet. It's still got about 46 seconds left. So I was going to make a comment there, Scotty. What we managed to fit in F1s, TCR, Radicals, V8s. We talked about RUFs, sprint cars. Did we actually leave Mazdas, MX-5? Oh, that was in the last race. But
we haven't talked about
covered. Okay, yep, go.
I was going to say the off-road trucks or the rallycross, because off-road trucks are actually a banger track for this one.
NASCAR tracks. I was going to suggest one of the things that we do for muck arounds with my mates is we'll grab something like a Pro Mazda and take it rallycrossing. That's always interesting.
We did dirt ovals in the IndyCar recently as well. That was something different. It worked, actually. It worked a lot better than one of us thought. Anyway,
the sprint cars on a road track don't work. I'll tell you that one though.
Yes, they do. There's actually videos out there on the internet of the winged sprints doing Le Mans.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, qualifying is run and done. Send it SimSports driver Chris Ireland to the top of the table. He is going to steal one away from Matty Jones. We'll start off along his outside. Adrian Loretti and Darren Fahey are going to make your grid row number 2, all both from Kittens Racing. Andrew Lydon, Adam Simpson, P5 and P6. Nathan Verney and Jack Allisey, 7 and 8. Joe Daly and Wade Reynolds, your top 10. Bruce White, the Shark, is going to be back there and looking for blood in the water in P11. Bradley Hudson, P12. Then we'll throw it back to P number 13, which will be Dean Sinkovic when the timing updates. There it is. And Troy Dooley. Steven Sinkovic immediately off behind him. Dean doesn't get a good run off the grid. Look out for Sinkovic to find his rear wing. Greg Johnson will be off of Steven's outside. Carl Pickering and Stephen Barra. Your next row, Greg Barber and Tyson McAvoy, your pace car drivers, and 3 drivers not to set a time, Matthew Boylett, Chet Murray, and Bradley Maisie. So that's the grid, and it is pole position nicked away from Matty Jones. He will be spewing.
I don't think it's going to worry Matty. He's going to be looking forward to this battle, buddy. I mean, how many cars we got out there? 18 on the grid. So it should be awesome. Our racing tonight at a place built for these sort of cars. Should be awesome stuff, mate.
It is going to be intense. If you haven't clicked that follow button yet from all that you've watched from the TCR racing, you are mad. Look at that wide angle shot. That is our grid all lined up and ready to do battle. We've got 10 seconds left on the in-game clock before the lights will start to run through. Ladies and gentlemen, look at you guys up there in the crowd. You've all turned up to support the racing. This is Suzuka. This is Formula 3. And we are right about set to go racing. Revs have started to rise. Lights will go on from left to right. Then they'll go off. We'll go green. And there we go, the run down on a turn of one. There's a huge accident at the tail end of the field. Somebody's got caught up with somebody. It's Greg Johnston and Stephen Barra that are involved in that one, but it is Chris Ireland who completes the run into turn number one for the first time here tonight. He'll lead them down there and away. Who's looking to be making up spots here early, Cal? Did you spot anyone going with some dive bombs as we head through the S's?
Well, I'm just thinking that was a broken car back there, so I thought the safety car might be coming out, and there it is.
Safety
Race control
car
has called it.
It's more than one car that's actually been involved because there's cars off in the middle of the S's, so drivers will be ordered to hold their position. Carl Pickering might be involved in that one. I think there's a car stopped. Greg Johnson as well at the tail end of the field. He'll be starting to bring himself through. That is Carl Pickering just over that top of that wall, stuck in the barrier and requesting a tow.
Oh. Well, we got through a whole TCR race without a visit from the safety car. We couldn't get through the first corner. We couldn't get past the start line before one was going to come out, buddy. Oh, wow.
I'm really intrigued.
So we're having a look to see what happened to Carl. Oh, he's gone hard in there.
So Joe Daly was the car that was ahead of him. That's an interesting one. So I don't think he necessarily thought that Carl Pickering thought that... well, Joe definitely didn't think that Carl Pickering would be
Look, it's
up there.
possible it could have been a net code or a blinking issue or something like that. But I think it was really lucky there, the way, you know, he bounced off, because Carl hit Joe probably about the best Joe could have hoped for, because he just bounced straight off and didn't really upset Joe's car at all.
Yep.
Wow.
Give me 2 moments, boys. I'm just going to go away quickly and just have a quick chat to the race controller. I'll just be right back.
Well, this is going to be rather interesting, isn't it? Scotty going to see if he can get a bit of the lowdown on what happened there.
I'll just jump in. I'm live on comms now. I thought I'd jump in while Scotty's just in there. Very, very interesting, man. That was a crazy start. Yeah.
Well, we didn't even get started before it was going on at the back of the field, and the difference is that these TCR cars, sorry, these F3 cars, are not nearly as robust as the ones we saw in the last race.
It seems
so
that Tyson McAvoy
coming out.
Tyson jumped into the pits also, and which seems strange because I can't find what the actual incident was happening with Tyson McAvoy at the time. But
Tyson's driving the safety car, so he's out there at the moment.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting confused now.
Yep. So what's going on there is, yep, you've got Tyson McAvoy and you've got Greg Barber. Those two are your safety car drivers here for this evening. They have to be in the server, which is why they appear on the timing screen. So if you ignore them, you are good to go. So there was a little bit of a kerfuffle as well that I did hear on the in-game chat about who was ahead at the time of the safety car. So Adam Simpson was one driver that they were sort of just questioning. They just wanted to find out who was exactly ahead at that point in time.
Well, chaos, mate, straight away. Didn't take long at all. We'll have to see if Stephen Barra can get back in. Looks like Carl is in the pits now, so just waiting for his tow to finish. But will they get a chance to get back on the lead lap? I doubt that this will be the only safety car we'll see tonight.
Yeah, not time under this one, so it'll be Carl's best opportunity to just tag himself back in. Well, that was lap number 1 in the books. Didn't last all that long. Drivers trying to build up some tyre temperature at the top end of town. Why are they doing that? Well, the tyres in the Formula 3 car, they're not sticky, are they, Cowie?
Well, they are. It takes 3 or 4 laps to get them up to temp. Again, this is one of those cars where it's all about the aero, trusting the aero. But the problem is, until the tyre's up to temp, you can't do that. So they, a little bit like skating on ice on a restart, and you know, we didn't even get a half a lap done. So there's no temp in those tyres yet, buddy.
So they're trying to wiggle them around, bring them up to temp, do anything they can to get any sort of temperature. There's a lot of drivers that say iRacing doesn't have this ability built into the sim. It actually does. It's just that weaving around doesn't do very much. But when you're at the front end, and when you're pushing this thing as hard as you possibly can from lap number 1, every little bit counts. So that's why you will see drivers doing it. It's about making sure that you're weaving around at a significant, non-minimum. There's a minimum speed threshold that you need to sort of reach.
Well, I mean, we've seen, the kerfuffle over the tyre dipping and all that sort of stuff where they're using the grass to cool down the tyres. Now, that would be diabolical in an F3 to even attempt it. We've seen what happens when you get these things on the grass. But looks like we're going to do at least another lap under the safety car here. Yep, he stayed out. Was that a little twinge from Tyson there, just faking to go in?
No, yeah, your safety car driver's not going to do that.
Oh.
And we'll be completing this lap, and Kyle Pickering will tag onto the tail end of the field at this point in time. So he's coming through to Spoon right about now, and then he will drive down and tag himself on.
Is Stephen Barrett going back out there as well?
No, Stephen Barrett's done for the night.
Oh, no. No. Well, buddy, I did say that, the F3's at least gives us a chance to maybe have a bit of a breather in that TCR race. Your vocals were on the threshold of pain for at least 3/4 of that race, buddy.
Oh, no, they were fine.
They're coming down now. They're okay now. You're just getting ready for the start.
They're stressed and strained. They're battle-tested, shall we say.
Warmed up is what we call in the music game, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always have those couple of songs that you can do that warm yourself up without really stretching your vocals.
Okay. So I'm talking to the master here. Here's the thing. I've been on this. I've been commentating now for, I think I said the other night, 9.5 years or something. Or 9 years. I've never had any vocal exercises. Now I've got a muso in the building. I can just bounce stuff off him. Can we?
Okay,
if I'm an aspiring vocal worker, whether that be in voice acting, commentary, music, etc., what can I do to prepare my voice?
Look, there's all sorts of people will have ideas on tonics and, shot of Drambuie or Scotch to open up
gin and tonic, gotcha,
yep, that sort of stuff. So there's all those little things, but in the end, it's all about warm up. So like an athlete stretches before you play a game of cricket or any sport, you've got to stretch those muscles. If you just try to belt out a song at the top of your vocal range and volume, all you're going to do is do damage to your vocal cords. So it's about warming them up. So I know, Scotty, like myself, you love talking, so I'm sure you have no problem warming up for your commentary gigs.
So it's just about making sure that I'm doing something with my voice beforehand. No specific exercises.
That's the biggest thing. Temperature can have a bit to do with it. Singers will be reluctant to play in cold environments. They'll keep their throat warm and all that sort of stuff. Because, the cold, your vocal cords contract, and therefore they become a bit harder, so you don't have as much control over them. Right, so, little things like that. And when you're talking the elite level, like racing, if I'm talking to you about brake bias and making changes to the wing in that mid-race, in your favourite car, you've got that down pat and know what to do, almost instinctively know what to do. Well, it's the same thing as a muso, not just playing an instrument, but your vocals are an instrument as well, and you learn over time, where you can push yourself, where, there's at least 20 or 30 songs on my repertoire that is my voice up to this tonight, and if it's not, I don't go near them. Because there might be songs that have just got those really hard parts.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying.
They also might be a song like "Living on a Prayer" that's just ball-tearingly high, and then has a key change in it as well. That certain songs I change the key to make them work. Same thing you got to do with the car. You adjust the car to make it work for you. And I think this is the thing that separates people in the sim game as we get ready to go green, buddy.
Oh, right there from Matty Jones. He was waiting for the acceleration. Chris Ireland's going to hold them. Hold them. He is coming out of the last corner. They're still sitting there. This is actually really good. He hasn't gone through the middle of the corner. There's a huge check up at the back end of the pack. There's a car around. Everyone's dodged it. But that was basically That was Joe Daly that's going to flick it around in the back end of your shot at the top end of the straight. Matty Jones will file back into P3, and the Kittens Racing guys.
P2, buddy. It's Adrian Levy, P3, I think, unless Adrian got around him then.
Yeah, Adrian Loretti, Darren Fahey in P3, P4. The Kittens Racing guys don't have a kitten over P3, boys.
Well, I hope that's not what they're fueling those cars with, Kitten Racing. But that was Toddy was mentioning something about your cats, you know, and we're not going to. Yeah, you're having issues with your cats at home, I hear, Scotty.
Moving on. I do this to get away from them. It's like children. Well, down back underneath the bridge for the first lap once again. There's obviously just the one driver that's having issues at the moment. It's actually Troy Dooley that was backwards at the tail end of the field. There's another driver backwards now on the way through up underneath the tunnel, and it's Wade Reynolds who's going extremely slowly. So he's facing in the wrong direction. So we might see if we can try and get a replay. Car's going too wide through the hairpin. Is going to be, I believe, Nathan Verney and maybe Steven Sinkovic. Yeah, it is. Sinkovic. Hang on, we're going to have to go back to live at this point in time if we can, Toddy. Sinkovic and Verney and Daly are side by side. They were 3 wide for a moment on the run up into Spood. Sinkovic is going to come out with the lead of the 3 of them, and Verney's going to send it down the inside. Sinkovic is wide! Coming onto the straight. Sinkovic will lose both spots. Now it's going to be the duel between Daly and Verney. Verney's going to have to give the draft over to Daly. He'll squeeze him. Will they go through 130R side by side? Verney lifts out.
Well, we've got to be careful. Got to raise the cars.
It's the other Sinkovic. He's gone barreling through the chicane. He doesn't like those pesky chicanes. He's going to bail out. It was actually Bradley Hunson. Sorry, my apologies. Dean Sinkovic was the car still on the racetrack.
This guy's been practicing in the
No,
V8
it is Dean Sinkovic. It is Dean Sinkovic that took to the escape road.
I'm thinking some of these guys must have been practicing in the V8 this week, because the V8s are here for the official series, but they're leaping over curves, and F3s don't tend to like that.
So this is going to be a separate incident. Bradley Hunson. And he's actually called himself through to race control.
Oh, he had no control of that, though.
So Dean's attempting to take avoiding action. There's absolutely nothing anyone could have done. Right, so Dean Sinkovic has now lost 2 places as a result of that. Daly and Verney have gotten by, and Hudson is in the pit lane. Hudson's just held the brakes and done all he can.
He's just towed then, and I don't think I heard him call out for a...
So I think what he said was, "Oh, sorry guys, I towed. I'm just letting you know I towed. Yeah, can you? Well, what he's done though is he's towed it from a really difficult spot.
Yeah, but so that should have maybe been a safety car, and we do have the request to tow, so I'll have to see what happens there. Race control is reviewing those sort of things. You need to have enough fuel for your cool down lap at the end of the race. If you don't make it back, well, that's going to give you a rear grid for the next one. Look at that nice move from Greg trying to go up the inside, but is that Dean hanging on to the inside for the next one?
Right around the outside. The second corner, and Dean Sinkovic loses 3 spots over the course of a lap. 2 of them from avoiding action.
Yeah, well,
whether or not he might have damage as well, because there was a clip.
Yeah, and well, that other hit would have probably been a lot more substantial. So we'll have to see. Again, also, you know, we're fairly early on in the race. This is only lap 2 of green running we've had. So these tyres are still not up to temp, buddy.
Let's keep an eye out further down the pack, because Matty Jones right now has just gone around the outside on the run into turn number 1 on Chris Ireland. Couldn't get it done, but they did go toe-to-toe, head-to-head. Now Ireland and Jones going to look for the crisscross, not quite able to put it off, and he's going to have to settle once more. Ireland will maintain the lead, but have a look at the pack that's immediately underneath them. The last 2 weeks, we've seen Jones set sail.
Well, that's right, and look, Matty Jones is running with the same livery there as the Senate Sim Sports boys. I think he is a de facto member of the team. I don't know if they've signed him up completely yet. So we've got team versus team. So we might just see Chris and Matty here try to work together to gain a bit of distance from the Kitten Racing boys behind. But they're working together to try and stay with it.
Yeah, I don't know about that, because Jones tried to come around the outside of Ireland down into turn 1. There is no team orders there. A little bit of a brake pinch there from Chris Ireland, and Jones is going to be staying right there.
Bradley Hudson has been given a drive-through penalty for failing to request a tow there, buddy. So
he will be able to serve that one this race and can return to service as of next one.
But he's already going to be probably or he's near the back of the field, so he's in danger of going a lap down because he's only about 20 or 16 seconds in front of this battle here, and the rate these guys are going, they'll catch him real quick. But, so maybe that's a blessing, put him a lap down, and then he can come out behind these guys.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see if he serves that one straight away, and he does so. So Hudson in the pit lane to serve his drive-through penalty. Failure to request a tow. What do we do that one in the sim, Cowie? What's the purpose of it? Because this is a gaming thing, but we try to do things a little bit differently in a game.
This is not a game, my friend. Come
Okay.
on. This is a simulation. So, don't say the G word. That's the dirty word around here, remember? So, as a simulation, if the car breaks down in the middle of the track, then it's an obstacle. You'd normally have to call the safety car. If a car gets stuck in the barrier, well, that means a full safety car would come out in any other type of real-world racing. We're simulating real-world racing here, buddy. So why not go full honk?
Okay, I'm glad this isn't actually simulating real-world racing, because the amount of concussions I'd have would be ridiculous. So, anyway, look, there's some steps we'll take, and that is one of them to bring us closer back to the real world. Chris Island, Matty Jones.
Maybe we do have that, you know, when it's within the last 5 laps of the race, we tend to be, you know, a bit more lenient on that, because we don't want to mess up the racing. Give these boys a chance to fight to the end. Yeah, but you've got the green white checker, so you know that's always a good thing.
The best rule in racing is the green white checker, I think. Anyway, opinions aside, is going to be trying to shape up and have a go here at Darren Fahey. Well, there's Kittens racing ahead of him. Kittens racing may have lost the tow. Loretti started to bolt, and Simpson
probably had to go defensive there in one corner, and it only takes one spot where you've got to go a little bit defensive and you don't have an optimal exit, and suddenly, you know, that gap opens out. Oh, look at Adam looking to make a move.
Adam Simpson, huge run. He's locked himself into the draft. He'll get down the inside of 130R and will clear him. Now it's going to be on to Fahey to see if he wants to have a crack back at him in the hairpin. It's not going to be enough, but he will have a shot down here at turn number 1. Good exit there for both drivers. The run out of the chicane. Is there going to be a defensive move?
Darren Fahey's got a bit of a run on Adam here, so this might be on down into T1, buddy. Yeah, look at it.
Move across. Simpson leaves the space, so you'll back out of that one. That's not a half bad idea. Not a half bad idea. Let's see if we can watch Simpson for a few laps and see if Simpson will have a bit of a dive, a bit of a go.
Well, you've got... The tow is still going to be effective. These cars, there is aero wash, so you've got to be wary of that when you're up around behind someone. But there is also a big advantage of the tow. If you can look after your tyres and stay close, then, you know, you put yourself in optimal position. But the problem is that when you run under the bumper of someone, that's when your front tyres are going to start to overheat.
Oh, talking about front tyres overheating, Darren Fahey's working those front tyres exceptionally hard at the moment.
Well, that's it. And, you know, again, iRacing, with as far as the simulation goes, and I've tried a few different ones, it seems to be the one that's got the closest. I know R-Factor 2 is one of those sims that guys talk about having great physics. Unfortunately, I've never had a drive of it, so I can't really comment there. But I do know that, you know, coming from Assetto Corsa and a few of the other games out there, it's that you do something to your tyres early on, you stop for the whole race. And I lock it up in Assetto Corsa, and 3 corners later it's fine again. So,
safety car number 2. So this will be the option for Hudson to get his lap back. There is a car stuck underneath the bridge, and it is
Steven Sinkovic, is it, or is it
Steven Sinkovic? It is Steven Sinkovic, just locked up under the bridge.
Yeah, Dean running P11, so he's having a decent run at the moment. Yeah, there is Steven, unfortunately, the SRW machine. And there's not much left, is there?
Is he trying to donate wheels and wings to the crowd? It looks like he is. He's trying to create a whole bunch of stuff for people to pick up. Well, and most of the field have opted to come down through pit lane. Nathan
8 laps gone. Probably burn off enough fuel.
Well, we'll see what's caused this safety car. I believe this is Carl Pickering and Steven Sinkovic having a fight.
Yeah, he's just gone a bit deep there and tried to come back on. Yep, no, and there's not much of a car left there. So. No, he's already requested a tow and is sitting in pit lane. So yeah, but look, everyone taking advantage of that. 8 laps, mate. That's probably enough to empty the tank enough that you can take on it, the fuel to get to the end. So these things will probably be heavy, but you know, these cars will probably be, you know, be fairly weighty now, but they've had some heat in the tyres. Now it's all about trying to hang on to that heat.
Well, a whole bunch of drivers have come down for a splash and dash of fuel. Drivers that have made a huge advantage out of it. Matty Jones has managed to grab that spot away from Chris Ireland quicker through the pit lane by 1 second. Next two cars back behind them as well, the Kittens Racing boys. They were in the pit lane for 25 seconds. However, Adam Simpson has gone, you know what? I've got heat in these tyres. Let's hang on to them. Let's see if we can hang...
Maybe a gamble. Hughesy and I last season decided to have a bet each race for the F3s and how many safety cars we thought that they would come out. So perhaps that's what Adam Simpson and Wade Reynolds is the other one that stayed out so far. So maybe those two guys are thinking, yeah, there'll be another one.
I think it's Nathan Verney is the other driver that stayed out.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Verney.
I'm showing Adam Simpson, Wade Reynolds. I had, Verney pitted. He got a 32-second pit stop.
No,
the only
Verney,
guys that haven't got it registered.
Yep,
Wade Reynolds.
Verney pitted.
Is that early on?
Yep.
Okay. So that was damage. Yep. Alright, so they're going to let Bradley get his lap back by the looks of it. Yep. So that's good to see. This is the rule that we decided to bring in for this season, because a few of the guys felt that a chance to get your lap back so you can battle again was preferable. Keep the cars out there maybe a lap longer. Mate, I know it's always not fun when you're the lapped car right caught in the middle of traffic or you've got to get out of everyone.
I'm just enjoying the fact that Tyson McAvoy is listed in the server as second to dead last. I think that's where he should stay for the rest of the season. Now, mind you, to everyone that's listening at home, the only reason he's there is because he is driving the safety car. But I think it's where he belongs, personally. I know he's going to have words with me after about that.
He's on the pace of the TCRs, mate. I think you'd have to drag him out of that league at the moment. 2 podium finishes in his 2 races so far. So, but thanks, Nick, for let's go for the JWM boys. Awesome, mate. Thanks for the shout out. And yes, Leaky, get up, Scotty. It is a simulation. Scotty, you wash your mouth out with bloody soap, I think, buddy. That's what your grandma would do.
Okay. Here's the thing. Until the day that it can actually replicate exactly what it is, it's not a simulation. It is a game. It is still a game. Hang on. In real life, do we have fast repairs?
Football is a game. Football is a game.
Do we have fast repairs in real life? That's all I'm saying. I said this. Actually,
Didn't Red Bull fix Max Verstappen's rear wing in under 20 minutes on the grid last year?
Yeah, but it wasn't a brand new car. He was still missing some downforce.
True.
So effectively, the only way to do that is to go back to your T cars, your backup cars. That's effectively. I've heard iRacing broadcasters refer to it. Yeah, as a backup car. Okay. And I actually really like that terminology because I think that works really well for what we hear.
Well, look, in the end, man. In the end, sort of, it's one of the big advantages of someone like myself being able to go, wow, I'm doing lap times that are almost as quick as the V8 guys at Bathurst, and feeling pretty good about myself. But then realizing that they're doing it for real when their lives are on the line. So
yeah, and there's I've had this.
There is a distinction. I know there's a step there, buddy, but this up here is pretty close. It's pretty.
I've had this argument with actually some of the really, really top oval, both in IndyCar and NASCAR drivers. Now, what I say, and the reason I say it, is that I want to see fast repairs in games like these. Why? Because there are factors that we just can't control, and I would rather see the competition go as hard and as fast as they can and push those boundaries a little bit more than they perhaps are able to on a game/simulation, because they've got the backup of a fast repair. there are a ton of moves whereby you're trained as a real life driver to back out of. Because you're going to end up in the barrier and you're going to end up hurt. Well, you don't have that problem in the sim. Yeah, look, your wrist may snap a little bit if you're still hanging onto the real or high-speed barrier. You've got to let go of the wheel. That's that thing. But I think one of the best things about simulator racing is the racing can be a little bit harder, a little bit closer, a little bit more door-banging. Yeah, there's some coding things that don't really like the hitbox meshing all that well some of the time. But a lot of the time, the result you get from a simulator is cheaper. It's near as effective, and we get to see still get to that feeling.
It's the only motor racing I can afford, mate. I'll tell you that now. And I've spent a fair chunk of cash on my rig.
Well, I can afford a car for what I've spent on my rig, so...
Oh, I'm sure I could do the same, but the problem is that might have got me enough to get the car on the track and, the first few track days for tyres, and then after then, exactly. Even before I bin the car, I'm going to have it. Oh, look, he's gone early.
Adam Simpson's going to go very early. The exit of the chicane, that's going to check up the whole back of the field. I really liked where Chris Island went last time. Why? Because it let the whole field get through the chicane. He's going to move all the way over to the right-hand side of the straight, Adam Simpson, and get defensive. He's got a lot less fuel on board than the rest of the field. We are now 25 minutes through this race as it currently stands. We're on the start of lap number 11, and safety car period number 2 has just finished.
Adams knows he's got to jump clear and try and take advantage of that lighter fuel load. These guys here would be full as a boot. But perhaps that 8 laps, considering the whole field went in on lap 8, mate, I'm thinking that these guys think they could get home.
Well, if they get one more safety car, maybe they'd be very, very close. It will be touch and go, and I think the difference will be is if we get another safety car now within the next, say, 3 or 4 laps, you'll see no one pit except for these 2 guys. But then they'll have to struggle their way back through the field. But
right to the back.
But they'll be right to the end then, you see? So, it's catch-22. It depends how many.
Yeah, okay, so, so you're thinking that Adam thought, nah, they're a bit early, the window's not there.
Yeah. Everyone else is going a safety car and we're home here.
Yeah. Okay, so it'll be interesting. I wouldn't think that
Oh no, I've got bad news for you. Bradley Hudson has got back out and he has found another gravel trap. I think he's rescued himself from it. So that's the one dot on the track map you see crawling around on his own. Now we are going to ride on board with Matty Jones as he attempts to get his way past Nathan Verney. Remember that Matty Jones got clear of Chris Island. He's down the inside at 130R. Verney's going to run it the long way around 130R. He'll have the inside line. Great defense from Nathan Verney. Matty Jones is still there, still in the picture. What's happened to Chris Island? Because he's dropped off the tail end of Matty Jones. So Jones had the race pace where Chris Island did not.
I'm wondering, that jump by Adam Simpson caught everyone unawares, and perhaps Chris was a little bit asleep there, mate.
Maybe, potentially. Now he's just about out of that draft range as well, so he's got to be careful. We've got Joe Daly just about to send it right around the outside of Andrew Lydon. Lydon's going to hang on to it down the inside, but now Joe Daly's going to have the inside of the next corner. It's the first of the S's. Grabs some curbing, still around the outside. Lydon will hang in there, but it's going to be Joe Daly that comes up trumps, and Alcie's now working in the background. Formula 3, you see them get toe-to-toe in the real world if you've ever seen the Formula 3 action, and the field here tonight's playing out no different.
Mate, it's just close battles and nice clean racing. These guys finally getting a bit of temperature in the tyres so they can start to trust the machine. I just note then that they stayed well away from that inside curb there. You eat that like a monster if you're in the V8 Supercar. Obviously not a good call in the M3s. We've already seen it catch them out a couple of times, and we saw that Andrew closing right up under the back of Joe Daly there. It was awesome under brakes. But that concertina effect, well, let's see the draft and look, he's already gaining ground here. So the toe, it's strong, buddy.
So Simpson has now clicked out to a 1.5 second lead out in front. He has broken the toe. That's important for his race. Now it's going to be, can Verney defend from Matty Jones one more time? That is the run that you're going to start seeing from Joe Daly back towards next car in the queue. That is Nathan Verney looking backwards at Matty Jones. And this time Verney says, you know what? I think I've had enough of this.
Yeah. Some pretty close running there, and just put the pressure on, and perhaps Verney just getting out of it, or realising he's got to run. I can't see why he would be saving fuel at this point. So yeah, just a good move, mate. Good pressure.
Good pressure from Matty Jones. Gets the job done. Second time's the charm for him. Now it'll be on to Ireland to see if he can close back in. The Kittens boys in at the background as well. Loretti and Faye, keep your eyes out for them. See if they can start to close back up in on Chrissy Ireland. Unless Chris Ireland is fuel saving. He thinks he might be able to go to the end.
It's interesting. I'm not sure of the fuel numbers, so we'd be speculating. Maybe anyone out there is in YouTube and Facebook land could let us know if you've got an idea of the fuel numbers. Perhaps want to be out there spotting one of your teammates. Let us know what those numbers are like. So Greg Leake saying it did hurt when he crashed. He hurts when he crashed, Scotty. So
Greg
at least
Leake,
Greggy thinks it's Leake.
My response to you is, did it hurt when you fell from heaven?
Oh, that's a bad pickup line, isn't it? That's a bad pickup line.
What a superstar Greg Leake is. I'm enjoying my leaky content this week, thank you. He's been bang up.
Awesome.
Anyway.
Well, the battle is still up front, buddy. They're keeping... These three here are keeping close watch on each other. Matty Jones, Nathan Burney, and Chris Ireland. Matty has got past Nathan, but he hasn't been able to... he's gapped a little bit now. Burney may be still in the draft. And I think Matty has taken a tenth or so out of Adam Simpson there, buddy. So he is on the charge.
He is on the charge, but it's not quite enough at this point in time. But it's going to be down to Ireland and whether or not he can get through quite quickly, and whether or not the Sim Sports boys decide to work together, whether or not they swap draft. The old IndyCar tactic comes into... Well,
I was talking about team stuff. I was talking about team orders before, and you brushed me off.
Well, no, I said earlier on they weren't.
Talking about it now, so don't I get a chance to brush you off again now? No.
Fine, whatever.
That's all good, buddy.
You do what you want. You bang that bell. You just ring that bell.
Well, I've got to try and get my 2 cents in when I can, mate. But I'm trying to do comms with you, buddy. If I don't butt in, I won't get a word in edgewise. No, I'm loving doing this work with you, buddy. So.
Hey, I gave you a whole segment on warming up voices, okay? I gave you a whole 5 minutes.
You did. You set it up beautifully too, buddy, I must say.
If you can't have fun in the commentary box, get out of the kitchen. That's what I always say. But then again, it's not about setting up your commentary box in the kitchen, because then you end up eating too much food whilst you're trying to talk. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are now halfway through our Formula 3 race live from Suzuka. Standings as they stand is Adam Simpson 1.4 seconds out in front. And you're right there, Cowie. You won't hear that twice. You're right, Cowie. Matty Jones has taken a tenth out of him. And now it's Nathan Verney who's got to try and respond and stick with him, because Chris Ireland is lurking in the waters. We'll see if Chris can get a good run off the spoon curb this time by and have a crack at the locked-on lads driver.
I've had a lot of my mate Brucey White there. He looks like he's picked up one spot running P10 at the moment. Carl Pickering behind him. Ireland, yeah, okay. I think Matty Jones.
Chris Ireland picked out the toe because he wanted to get on the back of him right as they got down into the chicane, and he gets the move done with a nice clean dive bomb. Will Verney cover him? Will Verney just try and stick with him? Is Verney going to shove the nose? Ireland doesn't care. He'll go defensive anyway. Now there's going to be a little bit of an overlap as they head into turn 1. No, slams the door shut. Does Chris Ireland. He's allowed to move back to that racing line, provided there's no overlap.
Well, mate, those Sim Sports boys are pretty fast, and I know they'd be working together here. And Chris Ireland has shown time and time again that he's fast in these cars. So that's a great move. Nathan Verney. Nathan's got some good pace. Nathan is
around, and I believe it's Bruce White on the exit of turn 1.
Indeed, no, Brucey. I talked about him, and it's a commentator's curse. We haven't even looked at him. And I talk about him, and then, oh no, what have you done, Brucey?
Out on his own?
Just a little wobble there.
He just catches the curb.
Yeah. Oh no!
Oh no!
That's what he's done. That's what he's done.
Wow! Now that will throw the cat amongst the pigeons. There are cars that are not able to make their way back to pit lane, requesting a tow, and race control has immediately sent Tyson McAvoy back out to cut some more laps.
Oh no, Brucey, and that's probably going to be a post-race penalty coming for Bruce there, or a penalty in this race. because you've got to hold your brakes. You can't drive out into traffic.
So, we are going to be under safety car here. Who does blink? Who does come back under...
Well, Simpson, you think would have to go in.
Well, that's the given. That is not even a question mark. Does he take his take tyres at this point in time?
Nathan Burney for sure. Nathan Burney for sure.
Does anyone follow him back in?
Well, this will tell you. Matty Jones, no. So maybe he's got enough to get to the end. These guys are continuing. I think maybe they've got enough fuel to get to the end, mate.
So nobody else is coming. It's just going to be the guys that didn't pit under that last caution. So they might grab a bit of fresh rubber here just to try something different, because at this stage they're going to be tail end. This is NASCAR style strategy. You don't pit under the first caution, you buy yourself track position. But if everyone else doesn't have to pit again, that never comes back your way.
Well, that's it, you know, again, I mean, Leaky, you talking to your teammate Greggy out there, can you give us some fuel numbers? Do you think these boys are going to make it home? Because that's the real question at the moment, isn't it?
Most importantly, I'm loving the fact that Tyson McAvoy is now 10 laps down. I'm enjoying that wholeheartedly. I'll bang on about that all night, don't worry.
That's all good, mate. You wouldn't be able to deflate him after his P3 in race 1. So, but yeah, like, it's been awesome, the racing tonight across both the racing. TCR was action-packed. The Formula 3 is a different sort of action, because we see when these cars door bang, they break.
Don't forget the rest of the week action coming your way as well. We've got the Radicals tomorrow night heading to you live from Britain. They've made the long trip over. Where were they last week? I can't remember now. Was it Snow? Spa was week 1.
Radicals were...
Red Bull Ring.
Red Bull Ring last week,
yeah. So they're making a trip over from Germany, Austria, into Britain.
Brands Hatch.
And they'll go to Brands Hatch. Great GP layout. It is a fantastic circuit for the Radicals and the format. It is going to be a close race between the SR8 and the SR10. Which car do you prefer? Do you like the newer version of the Radical that iRacing has put out, the SR10? A little bit more downforce, that turbocharged engine, but it's a lot more understeer, a little bit less play in the rear of the car. Do you love the banging sound of two Hayabusa 1000 engines strapped together? Because I certainly do, and Cowie's exactly the same. Then following that, we'll have Porsche Cup coming to you live from Interlagos as well. That will grace your screens on Thursday night. Coverage gets underway. Do you know what time we kick off tomorrow, Cowie?
Probably 7:30, mate. That's when we kick off. That's when we kick off.
That's Australian Eastern Standard Time, and that's GMT plus 10 for those of you in the international waters.
And remember, all of this is brought to us by our Formula 3 sponsor, DSL Welding Services. The stream, our Pagnian Advanced Simulations, great to have them on board, and they're our streaming sponsor. The safety car, the Promo Department safety car, well, we've seen that a bit tonight, buddy.
We have.
But now, we get ready to go green. The safety car has exited stage left.
And as they complete the run down to 130R, maintaining pace speed whilst waiting for Tyson McAvoy, TM, to make his way into pit lane, has now entered pit lane. We also thank Dragon RC and... sorry, I've just forgotten the other name. I'm terrible with sponsor names. Absolutely horrible. They drop out of my head. Melvin, that's it. Melvin Equipment Corporation as well. So, those are the sponsors. These are your drivers. And they will make their way down into the chicane with 20 minutes on the clock. That is what is going to decide the race. Matty Jones is holding him up, and he's gone. Second corner of the chicane, takes the Adam Simpson style approach, and he will try and launch out of there, see if he can get a runaway from the boys down the main straightaway. He has pulled a reasonable margin on his teammate there in Chris Island. We'll see if that run continues and whether he will just bail on them. Somebody pulling out of the draft. It's going to be Joe Daly. We'll send it down the inside into turn number 1. He'll back out of that one, maybe looking for some fresh air to the nose. They all file through. Single file safety car restarts, 10 to breed. Single file runs through turn number 1.
I think Matty maybe saw that Adam was able to get a nice jump on the field on that last restart, and he decided going early's the way to go. Seems to have worked, buddy.
Yeah, it is.
He's built out a nice little half a second gap now.
been quite treacherous trying to make their way through the chicane coming out of the last corner, and under slow speed. We saw that in the first portion. The cars just didn't quite make it through. So we'll settle back in for lap number 1 of Green Flag Racing resumption. Jones is he's got a comfortable margin here. He's doing quite well. I want to keep an eye back as well. Adam Simpson is probably my target, and I can see already he's up to P9.
Yep. Looks like we've lost Bruce White by the looks of it too, so maybe Brucey had some damage early, used his fast repair and then killed the car, so it's he's shown a bit of pace, but he hasn't had much luck, and a few little mistakes have cost Brucey in these first 3 rounds here at the
Nathan Verney has not stopped. Nathan Verney is going to keep on going, so he thinks there's going to be more safety cars. He can get home. I've checked the tank capacities too. They are at 100% tank capacity, so there is no limitation. The drivers have got Joe Daly. He's going to send it down the inside at 130. He will get the move done. Darren Fay gets escorted back 1 spot, and it is going to be Joe Daly on the move.
To have Joe back, and he's now up the front where he always was. He's had to battle his way through this race so far, and looks like his pit strategy put him back in the mix, and he's almost up with the front runners.
Watch the snake walking its way across left and right down the main straight. They're looking for the draft. Daly will hang back onto it. He does not want Fade to get another shot back around him into turn number 1. Now his job will be to try and tag onto the rear bumper of Adrian Loretti and see if he can get a draft back as well as they head their way through the S's. For the second time after that green flag, it was a quick lap for Joe Daly as well. He was fastest car through the sector coming through Spoon, and that is the fastest sector time for that sector of the race. So he is on the move, Joe Daly.
Having a great race so far, and as I said, he's had to work for it tonight, but he can see the leaders up in front of him. Matty Jones did a 150.7 on the last lap, so he's lighting it up and is trying to keep that gap. But Chris Ireland, only a couple of tenths behind him, has managed to sort of keep it close, and looks like he's just gained another tenth back on Matty. So this battle's not over up front either, buddy.
Yeah, keep your eyes out. Adam Simpson has now picked off Leiden as well, so he's up to P8. So he is still an outside shot to rocket his way back through the standings. And if those tyres start to fade, if he took tyres, there could be a sniff here for the Fishy Motorsports driver.
So far, I think I've only seen one driver take tyres in this in all of last season in SRW here. So tyres just don't seem to be on the menu. Even an hour race, I think these guys still aren't interested in taking tyres. It's so hard to get cold new rubber up to temperature.
And here comes Joe Daly. He's under assault by Darren Fay. Fay's right up underneath that rear wing. That's Alice we're looking at the moment. He's immediately in behind them. And then you'll have Adam Simpson and Leiden squabbling over the next 2 places as well. So Adam Simpson is now back into that draft range of the car ahead, which I believe is Jack Allisey. So he'll be looking to get aggressive very quickly. And Daly's starting to go forwards, I feel. He's closed down a little bit on Adrian Loretti.
He's definitely got pace, Joe. He was right in the mix all of last season and right up the front. So he's back where he should be. And, Suzuka, it's a technical track. And it might be one of those places that even though you practice it and, you think you work out your lines, you get in a race and it takes you a few laps to settle in. So, even trying to do quali, Tyson said before, he had a horrible quali in the TCR, but got into the race and he was dive bombing everywhere.
Yep, so Joe Daly might be a little bit of the same. Qualified P9th up to P5. That's a strong race for Joseph Daly, but we'll keep our eyes further back because Simpson is really trying to get the hammer down. There's a few pinch brakes up front. That's a lot of tyre smoke. That looks to me like 3 guys might have pinched a brake on the run in there.
They're all pushing hard. It just goes to show you, we still have got at least 8 or 9 laps of this race remaining, and 17 minutes, and these guys have been pushing hard for every inch of it, every second of it.
Safety car periods. One of the things I don't think we talk enough about is it's a mental break for the drivers. You've got to switch off, because if you're still switched on, you're going to burn through so much mental energy. You've got to switch back on again. It's so important to throw that switch properly, isn't it, Cowie?
Well, they talk of, it's like the soldier's trick to find sleep whenever he can. That sort of thing, where, if you work in the trenches, so to speak, and you get a quiet period, you sleep. And they're just able to do it, and you don't understand how you can do that. same thing as a muso. When you get off stage for your break, you generally don't talk a lot. And it's I suppose just things we do to mitigate things, and it's all mitigation really, and probably the same in racing. So the moment that safety car comes out, you're thinking about, okay, how do I keep heating the tyres? How do I not make a mistake? Where can I get an advantage? Where can I do pit stops? Gives you that time to maybe think about that stuff, whereas when you're in the heat of the battle, all you're thinking about is the car in front or alongside you.
Well, speaking of guys that are in the heat of the battle right now, anyone inside the top 10 is effectively fighting for their lives right now. 1, 2, 3, 4 in a queue on track. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in a queue on track. And then you just tag in piece 10. Wade Reynolds, who's recovered well. I believe he had an early spin. He's now back up into P10, and he'll be looking to try and grab a few more spots if he possibly can.
Yeah, well, back where he was. We've got Nathan Burney up 4, Joe Daly up 4, Stephen Sinkovich up 4, and Carl Pickering up 5 at the moment. So they're our big movers. But it's still pretty close out there, buddy, and everyone's still battling. The sheep station is well and truly on the table.
Well, I'm really curious about whether Vernie can make it to the end from here. We now have under 15 minutes left to go, so if he's going to have to pit, he's made it. Well, there was one race there where he just completely and utterly skipped a pit stop out, so he was the only one to do so. Is he going to go for that strategy yet again?
Wow. Well, it could be a very, very bold play, because he has put himself straight into...
Oh, hang on, fight for the lead. P1, P2, it is Ireland and Jones going toe-to-toe. I think they might have gone into the chicane side by side. Jones is going to have to cover that one down the inside. Here comes Ireland. Ireland's now got the momentum. He's got the run. Is there going to be a squeeze back to the racing line? Who's got the nose ahead? Just barely Chris Ireland on the outside. No contact made. Chris Ireland's going to go the long way around. Carl wiggled in the middle of the corner, and Matty Jones defends it from the inside.
That was a power drift from Chris Ireland. He didn't even get out of it, I don't think. And the car just slid through it perfectly. I think, you'd be happy with that drift in a Toyota AE86, mate, not a Formula 3 car.
Well, how's that going to hurt the tyres there, Cowie? Because that'll be the next problem for Chris. He's not going to keep this up for the whole race.
Well, maybe that is maybe a symptom of the tyres, Matty. They're also getting a bit slight.
Oh, he's deep. Very deep. Pulls it up nicely for Chris Ireland, but he was on there for half a moment.
Oh, that was good car control, and instantly knew what he had to do to get that car slowed down and turned. So that's the level of skill. I mean, sometimes we have our favourite cars, and sometimes that favouritism of that car more comes down to, well, I can catch slides better in that one.
Well, I'll tell you what, Joey, just watching this, I've just remembered, next Friday, I'm going to learn how to drive a Formula Ford, mate. So...
Yeah? Oh,
yeah.
Wicked, buddy,
yeah,
wicked.
My wife, for my 30th birthday, she bought me a driving pack, a race day pack at Sydney Motorsport Park. So, I'm looking at these things, and I'm going, hang on, this will be me next week.
Beautiful, buddy. Oh, that should be an awesome fun. I mean, I think I've go-karted. That's about the closest I've got. But, mate, to get a chance to do it for real, I think my nephew was going to try and buy me one of the B8 packs and that, but, he was struggling a bit financially, and I told him, don't you even think about it at the moment. I know you've got no bloody money.
You got to look after yourself first and foremost. But there's something to do when you've got a little bit of fun, a little bit of money behind you. I might have to go down and say hi to Taste McAvoy, because he's down that way, actually, whilst I'm down there. Anyway, battle continues. Joe Daly is actually starting to really creep in on Adrian Loretti. He did get past Joseph. He did get past Darren Fahey a while back, so he is now starting to chase down. My apologies. My apologies. That's completely the wrong way around. Darren Fahey's nearly had a go at him, and Alice is caught back up as well.
Well, Joseph got past Darren earlier. We watched that battle earlier, but the thing is, Joe hasn't been able to bolt clear. Darren's stayed right in the draft here, and he's still in the mix, mate.
Yeah, he is. And Joe Daly just about close enough through 130R to have a go at him. So he will probably be looking for that opportunity next lap. Adam Simpson just got through as well. He's up to P number 7. He's just picked off Andrew Lydon. So Lydon's starting to slip backwards. And Simpson, well, maybe he did take tyres, is coming back through the field.
Well, he's got to get up onto the top steps of the podium. We get to ask that question of him. But so far, he's having a great race. You can see here, he's only about 2.5 seconds behind this battle here, and we can see that Andrew Lydon behind him. So Adam's got past Andrew, but Andrew is still staying close enough to get that
Stops
toe as
car
well.
out on track. Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh,
Carl
no.
Pickering, I think it is, might have come a cropper, and I think he is stuck. That may be a safety car. He's a tow. Yeah, it is a tow. So Carl Pickering has
No, he's
immediately
jumped
returned
to
to pit lane.
He's jumped to the pits. I didn't hear a call out on the radio there. He's already... Was it Bradley Hudson copped the penalty for that? So that might be another one for Carl. We're going to have a look and see a bit of grass there. And
That's
as he
not
come
it.
back on...
So it was the next lap, I think, from Carl. He was just before the bridge, exactly the same spot as I think it was Steven Sinkovic
He's had
earlier in the race.
another moment. Here it is. Against... I know it's the same moment.
It's the same moment. All right, so we haven't got pictures of you, but there was Carl Pickering in the barriers. So that is something that
I
has
think we're
happened.
still live though, buddy. I haven't seen the safety car come up. I haven't seen a message
Yeah, we
there
are.
from race control or anything.
You're
So
aware.
everything is still happening. So that may be just that might be a penalty for next race for Carl, because it looks like he's jumped out of the server as well. So just
critical
a
things to
reminder.
note-
I was going to say to reminder to the drivers out there: make sure you read the rules, guys. We'd love having you here in the
hang on!
Oh, no.
Chris Ireland is off the circuit at this point in time and dropping like a rock. What is going on to Chris Ireland?
Hard there, buddy.
He looks like it might be a spin. He might be okay here, so this will tell the story. Might be on the curb here. Yep, just gets too much
the
curb.
Yep. And he caught it and then tried to sort of get back on it again, maybe just a little bit early. Oh, great evasive action. There was that Adrian Loretti there. That was awesome thinking. And he went out on the grass and didn't spin it either. So that was impressive. That was super impressive there, Scotty.
But you know who's the big winner out of this? Joe Daly, because now he's right up on the bumper of Adrian Loretti. You saw Loretti have to take avoiding action, and then immediately after he did that, Daly had no one on the track because Ireland had flicked the car onto the infield. It was great defensive driving by Ireland. And now, down the inside, Joe Daly didn't wait long. He got straight down there. Now it's Senate Sim Sports 1 and 2 again, as it was before. So the timing will come across the line, and Loretti's coming through the pits. That might be a drive-through penalty. Or that might be a wing broken.
Yeah, I was thinking it might be more damage related and he's got a fast repair. We maybe keep an eye on him, see if he stays there. I've just lost a shot on him. Have a look, how long was his pit stop? No, it's going 20 seconds. So he's come out now. So does Adrian needed fuel? That seems an interesting stop.
I didn't
at this
think Loretti
stage of the
did need
race,
fuel.
buddy.
I thought he was okay.
Yeah.
It was Vernie we were talking about. Unless he did need unless they all need a splash of fuel, in which case they'll all be coming back down. Loretti's gone, well, I've got damage, I'm coming now. But
Well,
we're 8 minutes to go. So figure that one out.
That's it. Thanks, Driver 808, of a shout out for Kitten Racing. The boys are having a pretty good run tonight. Jet was too tired, apparently. Mr. Dead, that's Craig telling us. He jumped in and did some practice, and that's why we didn't see Jet Murray out on the track tonight. He is only a youngster, 14, so maybe, had to go to bed a bit early, but he got a big day on at school tomorrow.
The Adrians have come in and said that Loretti did not get enough fuel into that car, so he did have to come back down. So
no.
that was critical for him. But Vernie's
Crew
still
chief.
out there.
It was a crew chief issue, they're saying.
No, Vernie
Yeah.
pit, didn't he?
No.
No,
Vernie-
Vernie's still out there.
Yeah, Vernie's the one that didn't pit. Who said that? Where is Nathan Vernie? He's
Well,
running
he's P7 at the moment, so at the
P7
moment
at the moment.
he is ahead of Chris
yeah.
Island.
Lap 2 was when he pitted, so lap 1 effectively.
Down the inside, he's going to look for this one. Does Vernie? Is he going to get all the way down there? No. So that's interesting. I'm wondering whether or not he's fuel saving anymore. He might be good.
Oh,
He might have done enough.
He's driving hard, so it doesn't look like he's fuel saving, unless he's an absolute master at it. And I wouldn't put that past Nathan, because he's near the front.
And hang on. Nathan Vernie down the inside yet again. It's going to force a send along the outside, a defensive send. Isn't too much of a send around the outside. Vernie on Lydon. Lydon's going to hang on to the spot, but they both made mistakes there.
Yeah, I thought Nathan had a big shot there, but he broke a bit early, maybe? one of the things that can be hard, buddy, is when you're stuck up behind someone or you move alongside them. If you're using a particular brake reference and suddenly you can't see it, you panic a little and you brake a bit early, because it's much better to brake early than brake late in that situation.
Well, we've now got to keep an eye on multiple battles as they're starting to come to a head. We have 5.5 minutes left to run on our timed race here this evening. You're watching one of them, Nathan Verney and Andrew Lydon. They're going to go head-to-head right to the end of this race. Next one up the road is Adam Simpson and Jack Allersley. They are going to continue to go head-to-head, and they're only just out a screenshot of these guys as well, nearly back into the draft. So will Lydon be able to clamp back onto those guys? Don't forget, battle for P2 is still not resolved either. Fahey is still within spinning distance of Daly, but Daly's starting to show a clean pair of heels.
Drive from Jack Asley there actually at the moment, because he Adam got him there before, and he's managed to just stay behind Adam and carve his way through with him, because they were battling for what, P7 or P8 at one stage, and now it's P4 and P5.
Well, we'll see if they can continue that battle right the way to the line. It's been awesome to watch, and Darren Fahey is coming. He is definitely getting closer to Joe Daly again. So that battle had opened itself up just a little bit, but Daly might have made a mistake. It's starting to come back Fahey's way.
Matty Jones has checked out in front once again. He's the only man still in the 1 minute 50s with a 1 minute 50.458 last lap. And that was a second and a half almost clear.
Hang on, down the inside.
Andrew Lydon.
Verney's going to go around the outside. The inside didn't work for him in the last lap. Is he still got the nose there? And the car in the background's off as well. Verney continues to show the nose, and he's just quiet. He's driving quite a defensive line as light. He's doing a phenomenal job to hang on to that spot. But I want to go back. Was it Troy Dooley that was off in the background? No, it was Wayne Reynolds, I think.
Troy Dooley did have an off as well, but according to SDK, so I think he caught that one as well. And
was it Ireland? It might have been Ireland.
Oh no. Well, we've only got about a minute to go, so it's going to be hard to cut away from the battle on track here.
Well, we've got action now whilst we're in the middle of the lap. So this will be Chris Island's. This is the original spin, I think, from Chris Island. So that was the original spin. So there might have been another one for Chris Island. He's just not able to access the replay for it.
We've still got these great battles out here, so looks like Jack has just fallen back a little bit further on Adam, so Adam really put the screws on now. But there's only 2 seconds separating them in that battle. Well, they're still close on track, mate. But we're running out of time. We're inside the last minute, so when they cross over the line, buddy.
I think we've got 3 minutes left to go, so I think we'll get 2 left.
3 minutes, you're right, I apologise. Looking at the wrong timing. iRacing telling me one thing. And
I've got a 2-minute grid timer there, Cowie. That's the one.
That'd be it.
So this is Chris Island again, the big spin that he had earlier. So yeah, we're just trying to see if we can find another replay. But that does tell a lot of the story for a lot of drivers here, because that move and that incident right there for Chris Island has, yes, it's knocked him out of P2, but it also checked up Loretti as well, who fed him back into Joseph Daly. Now Joseph Daly's checked out.
Well, Joe's a big winner out of all of that, so he'll be happy. But apart from Matty Jones, but Matty Jones has just checked clear now, running his own race, and you can see he's finally now coming out of the pace. Did a 52 last lap, so maybe starting just to look after the car and make sure it's
car.
Yeah.
There was a lap car in the middle there. Yes, there may have been something to do with it. I mean, at that point, why not? Darren Fahey's gone, you know what? There's nothing left in this. I don't want to finish on the bottom step of the podium.
Was that a wide from
Adam Simpson is going to have a crack at this one.
He went wide there, so that was rather interesting, and had a big skate on the grass. So that's probably dropped him back another second from Darren. So coming down to the last lap, it's Verney and Ireland. Is that Ireland got Chris Verney there? Chris Ireland got Nathan Verney there with a good move,
Yeah, so Nathan Verney will now slot one spot further back, and he will hope that Chris Ireland can tag onto the back with one more lap left to run and get by Andrew Lydon. He can clean up the scraps. That will be Verney's plan, I think, unless he's fuel saving. Alessi, what a drive from him. It has been as well. That's a hero drive from Jack Alessi. P8, P5. He's been the big winner in terms of spots on the grid gained, apart from Joe Daly's the other one, P9 and P2. That's a phenomenal drive from Joe Daly. with one more lap left to run. Matty Jones will pick off another lapped car. He'll get the white flag, and then these boys will start to file on through. And I think I just heard Vernie say he had to pit.
Oh no, so he thought he could make it to the end and he's got his numbers wrong. He thought it's gone one more lap than he
Chris
did.
Island's pit as well. It's not just one, it's both of them.
Oh, and there's a moment there.
My apologies. My apologies. My sincerest apologies. The car off in turn 1 as well. It's a lap car. It's Dean Sinkovic, so he will get out of the way. I think. So Chris Island has gone through. I think Nathan Verley's actually fine. Island is done. Island is done. So whether or not he's caught something's happened. That car is broken. There is nothing left for Chris Island in the kitty. He has towed it away. He is done. So he drove it down pit lane, and that was the end of the story. Vernie will actually complete the next lap without driving through the pit lane.
Troy Dooley must have got caught up in that too, because it's showing him in the pit as well at the moment. So coming out, or maybe he had to pit for some fuel as well. You said there was no fuel limit at all, so maybe a few of the guys sort of rolling the dice and putting lots of fuel in. Like Nathan Burney must have had that thing filled to the brim to be able to get home from lap 2, or almost. So he was counted on being 1 lap short. Perhaps he's going to be cursing Matty Jones's pace up front. That cost him an extra lap and he had to pit.
Yeah, who knows? We will have to find out. Jack Allison and Andrew Lydon are about the only battle that is relatively close on track. There is time running out to get this one done. It's Wade Reynolds you were just watching on your screen. He's in the background of that shot there. Now it's going to be Lydon all over the rear end of this thing of Jack Allison. I don't blame Allison for going offensive. This is it. This is the final corners. He's going to run it wide, and Lydon will get it done. Sends it the final chicane. And he will steal away P5 from Jack Allison. It's still a good race to the line from Allison, but he will be ruining that final corner.
Oh, that's a bullish move there from Andrew Lydon, and kudos, mate. He made it stick, and Jack tried to go around the outside there, but just lost the rear, and that was the spot done. So,
well, that is it. We're going to find out what happened to Vernie and Island now that the race has wrapped itself up. Didn't want to take you away from the live viewing. So this is on the run through. Island covers the inside. Oh, Vernie just locks it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know whether or not. I don't know if there was contact there, but yeah, maybe netco. But yeah, he locked that up and got it sideways, and Chris went around as well. So yeah, contact. Or a netco contact, but that's unfortunate. The boys were battling hard there at the end of the race.
Unless that was actually a drive-through penalty or an incident point penalty for Chris Island as well. He just went, yep, no, that's it. I've had enough for now. I'm going to head off. Thanks, guys. Well, congratulations to Matty Jones. That is race 1 and done for Matty. That will make 3 weeks in a row that he's been on the top step. Chris Island threw a phenomenal fight to him so far tonight. We'll be rejoicing the return of Chris next week. Joe Daly was a great fight back through from P9 to P2. Darren Fahey brought his way back onto the podium in the closing stages there of that one. Adam Simpson threw out the alternative pit strategy here tonight, and it did not work out the way that he was hoping, but he will still manage to walk away with P number 4. Andrew Lydon starts P5, maintains P5, the only man in the field to do so. Jack Allison, P8, lost it on the final lap to a great move from Lydon. That was a phenomenal battle to watch. Wade Reynolds as well, P10. On the grid to P7, good race for him. Vernie goes backwards a little bit with that late incident. Adrian Loretti and Steven Sinkovic will sneak into your top 10.
On the practice results there, Toddy. Probably got to wait for the session to finish before let's put up the results of the race.
So that is...
Don't pay any attention to those guys. That was practice results.
There we go.
An hour ago. The boys now going to do out a few burnouts and light it up. Matty Jones with another dominating performance, and trying to get past there without hitting him. Oh. The boys both lighting it up. They're having a bit of fun. We got Matty Jones and Joe Daly in the green room, just waiting on Darren Fahey to get him in. But it was another night of action-packed and safety car journeys and requesting to tow without requesting to tow. It all happened tonight, Scotty.
Yeah, it was. It was a bit of a biff on here. Didn't see any safety cars coming to you from the TCRs, and they had a lot more biff on going. But then again, that's the nature of them. Formula 3 cars. They've got the open suspension. All of the units there are there to be dragged across the floor should anything go awry. It was a phenomenal race here in Japan when we stepped away from North America.
I think Darren Fahey's just trying to show you how much life those tyres actually have.
And how much spare fuel he put in the car.
That's it, mate. That's it. Well, again, we do have that rule in here that you need to have enough fuel on board to do your outlap. So that's why we say, if you're going to do your celebration, you've got to do it past the start-finish line. Show that you had that fuel.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming to the broadcast booth your P3 from the Formula 3 here tonight. Darren Fahey, you there, Darren?
Yeah, sorry. Still doing burnout, sorry.
Is that, you call it a burnout, you're trying to wear out those tyres, mate.
I'm trying
you
to
can't drive through that wall is solid, man. I don't think you're going to drive through it. Good celebration, mate. So, yeah, had some fun out there.
Yeah, I've been out of form lately, so I'm just trying to turn this bloody, sorry, iRacing down. Yeah, I've been out of form lately, so good to be up there.
In terms of things, obviously it was a nice battle there with Joe late on in the race, and you had your teammate there, Loretti. It's been awesome to sort of watch the work between you guys as well. I think it's, if anything, I find it more encouraging when a team's got two drivers that are sort of attached together. You guys aren't holding back on each other. You're comfortable to go racing with each other. Talk about the little bit of the team environment that's going on for Kittens at the moment.
Yeah, so I finally dragged some mates along this year. It was a bit of a lone race last year, so I'm glad they're along. And yeah, it helps you motivate you, helps you, pushes you along. I've got Andrew joining us as well, Andrew Lydon, but we're only allowed a 2-car team.
We can all run the same colours, buddy. There's no problem there, and you can always call them, you know, the second team.
Yeah, we didn't want to do that.
But mate, there was action packed out there tonight. You were wall to wall, and you had to fight for it there for a bit.
Yeah, it was good to. There were some fast guys there tonight, faster than me. Adrian was, I don't know, he stuffed up his crew chief stuffed up his refuel, so he ran out of fuel. That's why he had to pit again. So he gave me a position really.
So did you purposely not fill the tank complete and count on sort of a mid-race safety car, or was it fill it right up and then pit for a drop to get it home?
Yeah, no, I filled right up. We all filled right up except Adrian. I don't know what happened. It short-filled him accidentally. It certainly wasn't his intention. But I'll take it.
Well, mate, obviously you're representing Kittens here on the podium tonight. Your opportunity to thank everyone that makes it possible for you.
Yeah, Kittens, AML Tech, Leanne, and my daughter Harper.
Oh, awesome, mate. Well, there's certainly some great racing tonight, and good battle there at the end, buddy. So great to see you have a great night, and well done.
Yeah, I thought I was going to run out of beer with the early safety cars, so many of them. So I was looking around trying to get another beer, but I just couldn't get one.
Man, that's so much fun. It's good to hear you having so much fun in the sim, Darren. It's been awesome watching you so far, mate. We look forward to seeing you again next week, brother.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Good call. I no doubt I'll watch it soon.
All right, awesome, mate. Have a great night. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Darren Fahey, driver of the number 5 and P3 from Formula 3 here tonight. Moving on to second place will be Joe Daly. Sim Sports will have 2 entries on the podium, but I don't think it was the 2 that we were expecting come race start. Joe, how you doing this evening, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. You had your work cut out for you. Qualifying did not go your way.
Look, that's what happens when you don't do any practice, mate. So that was nothing less or more than I expected. But I knew once we got into the race groove, we'd be right, and we were.
Is it a bit like that? You know, this place is definitely about flow and getting into a rhythm. And was that what about? Just no practice. So halfway through the race, you'd finally found your rhythm and you're right to start pushing there.
Yeah, and once it burnt some fuel off, the car sort of come to me. I really hate the sort of pushy front end in these that you get sometimes, and this track's notorious for it in all cars, as you boys probably know. So As a rear end started to liven up a bit, she come to me and we started putting in sort of PB lap times, few mid 50s and low 51s pretty consistently. So it just took a while to come to us, but nice clean race, some good battles there, and happy to come away with a podium.
Mate, talk to us about the moves, because obviously it was all chaos there on the restart. You had to pick your way through, and then Loretti sort of peels off into the pits. It was just fight, scrap for every little bit of piece of position. And really, those safety cars, they kind of just played into your favour a lot more than I think they did your teammates.
Yeah, a little bit. I kind of had a bit of a compromise strategy because I understeered wide early in the race and was off in the weeds, so kind of a little bit compromised. We all sort of took that second safety car to take a pit stop, and then it was just run as hard as you could till the end. And as I said, I had really good pace, especially in clear air where there was no wake over the nose. And once I could sort of break the toe, I could just run my lines and start reeling in the next person. So that's what it was all about tonight.
Set them up, pick them off, lay them down. Mate, congratulations on getting it all the way back to P2. Your opportunity to thank the sponsors that make it possible for you.
Yeah, no, thanks, boys. All of you guys doing the broadcast and Sim Racing World, we're really loving it as a team. And big thanks to Precision Performance Shop, ProServe Finance, Sydney Computers, AJ Insurance Services, Transform Media, and Pixel Blocks.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Joseph Daly, driver of the 98, and P number 2 from Suzuka tonight. Finally, moving on to... I think we've talked to this guy enough. Can we just get him out again? I don't think we want to talk to him again, do we? It's Matty Jones.
Going on, guys?
Matty, a little bit of competition there tonight. You got Chrissy to come join you and have a bit of a blast and a tear around in the things with wings.
Mate, Chris was all over me like a rash. He was really putting the pressure on. A bit of a stroke of luck. Pit stop call. I short fueled the car a little bit and managed to jump ahead of him and then unfortunately made a mistake there. But no, that was he was working out the best of me, that's for sure.
Mate, talk to us about the breathtaking moves through 130R. You sent it one lap and Vernie wasn't going to back out, and then the next lap you just had that nose an inch further forward.
That was it pretty well. I was just getting up alongside, trying to be safe, and letting him know, stating my intentions. The lap where he wasn't going to give it up, I wasn't going to push the issue too far. That's just a high-speed crash waiting to happen. Luckily the next lap around, he backed out of it. But it's a bit of a precarious place to pass, but it was where I seemed to be getting the run on him, so we had to give it a go.
On that the third restart, you're on the front, but the second restart, Adam Simpson jumped early and left everyone for dead, so you did the same on the next restart, buddy. Did you sort of take a little bit of a leap out of his book, or was that always in your plan?
Honestly, as I turned into the chicane, I still hadn't made up my mind what I was going to do, and I just took a nice shallow entry, opened up the exit and stood on it and went for it. It was lucky. I think I caught Chris napping just a little bit, and that was probably what it needed, because he was very, very fast on those restarts.
Mate, we actually missed that move that we're actually watching on screen at the moment, which is you versus Chris when Chris got it done through the chicane. That was awesome driving right the way through, and it's tight. And I think it's more fun when the guy that you're actually racing hard is there and comms going, oh man, you're sitting down the inside there. Was there much back and forth like that through the race, or?
No, we weren't actually in a chat together.
Oh, okay.
I've never actually met the guy, to be honest. But no, we've raced a lot in the past in supercars and things like that. So I reckon there's a lot of trust there between us when we're out on track. So we both know sort of the limits of each other and what we're capable of, and we race hard.
Well, mate, the championship rumble continues. You've obviously stretched a clean pair of heels out. Coming weeks, give me 2 shakes. I believe we're heading to some more funky tracks. It's some more fun stuff coming the way. Will be Fuji International Speedway next week for the second of the Enduro rounds. That is an endurance racing track, a track that hasn't been seen on the Formula 1 calendar for some time, but used to play host to the Japanese Grand Prix. So we go from current Japanese Grand Prix to old Japanese Grand Prix. You got much more of a lowdown and feeling for that race, much the same as you did here?
For Fuji, I'll have to buy it sometime during the week and turn some lap. I don't even know what it looks like yet. So yeah, not sure. I definitely have felt like Suzuka was probably always going to be my weakest track on the calendar this season. So yeah, it's good to get this one out of the way and look forward to a couple of those newer tracks and the likes of Mosport and stuff like that, which are always real heaps of fun.
What do you think of a 1.3 kilometre main straight drafting in these things?
Oh, you could pass 4 or 5 cars probably if you got a good run.
There you go. Matty Jones is going to give himself an intentional rear of grid next week and try and drive through the field. That's what I heard. Matty Jones, your opportunity to thank the sponsors that make it possible for you.
Yeah, everyone at Precision Performance Shop as always, and the guys at Transform Media, ProServe Finance, Sydney Computers, and CD Cinematography.
Thank you very much, Matty Jones, ladies and gentlemen, the driver of the 087, tonight's Formula 3 winner, and will roll on to be your season leader. That is it, Cowie. That is everything in the books here from Suzuka and Interlagos for your Sim Racing World Wednesday night. Tomorrow night, the action continues to heat up with Brands Hatch and more Interlagos action.
Yeah, looking forward to it, mate. I'll be out on the track in the Radicals tomorrow night. Brands Hatch did a bit of practice there earlier, and it was awesome fun. But, mate, tonight, did we get the kitchen sink tonight? Do you think we got it?
I think there's a lot of damaged bits and pieces of race cars from Interlagos that are still floating around out there. So if you're looking for a souvenir, go walk the track after the race is probably my recommendation.
Well, it's the action here at SRW, buddy. We throw everything in there, including the kitchen sink. So, and it was another great night of call on the racing with you, buddy.
Yeah,
Loving
it's been phenomenal drive. Once again, we do want to say a big shout out to everyone that makes it possible for Sim Racing World. DSL Welding Services are your series sponsors here for the TCR and the Formula 3 Pagnian Advanced Simulations. They sponsor the stream. They bring everything possible from the commentary world. Then we move over onto Dragon RC and the Promo Department's safety car as well. And don't forget your Melville Corporation, who will be supplying the pole position qualifying sponsorships right throughout the remainder of the season. I have been Scotty Rattlegun Rankin. He is Andrew Cowbell Cowan. And if you've liked all that you've seen, don't go anywhere. Tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, we'll be live once again for the SR8 Radicals. We will see you then, ladies and gentlemen.